is swung on and hit in the air to right field deep. And you can't forget about this one. Blaze Salter hits number 5, and the Newport Gulls retake the lead.
This is the Newport Gulls pregame show, live from Cardines Field in Newport, Rhode Island.
Gone! A grand slam! To left power, right tower power, and the Gulls walk off in the 15th inning!
Coming up, interviews, stats, standings, lineups, and a whole lot more.
Tomas steps on the back for 1 out, throws to first, it is in time, a double play.
Pitch, breaking ball lifted deep to center field, and it is gone! A 2-run shot for Cody Hosey.
Bringing a high drive, left field deep. Bolzano going back, looking up. This ball is a 2-run homer. P.J. Jones hits it out.
Stay tuned. The pregame show begins now on the NECBL Broadcast Network. In his first season covering Newport Gulls baseball, here's play-by-play broadcaster Stephen Huff.
It's opening day here in the City by the Sea for the 2019 New England Collegiate Baseball League season as the Newport Gulls host the Mystic Schooners. I'm Stephen Huff, getting you set for tonight's NECBL action. After missing the playoffs for the past 2 seasons, there will be a new manager in charge for the Newport Gulls. That new manager will be longtime NECBL manager and the Gulls' very own pitching coach for the past 2 years, Kevin Winterroud, leading the quest for the Gulls' 7th NECBL championship. The Gulls finished last season 21-23, falling 1 game shy of the playoffs and losing the final game of the regular season to the Mystic Schooners. The Gulls are about set for action, and so are we here on the NECBL Broadcast Network. The Gulls pregame show starts right now. It's time for the Broadcasters Roundtable. Stephen Huff joined alongside the Gulls field reporter Nick Bello to my left and the voice of the Mystic Schooners, Laura Hoover, to my right. Nick, we'll start with you. You're back for your 2nd year with the Newport Gulls. What's so special about this place? The aura, the atmosphere of Cardines Field, Newport. What makes this place so special?
This is a great ball club with great history. Even the whole town of Newport, whole county, this whole area has a lot of great history that comes with it. Last summer was a lot of fun for me. I learned a lot, and that's why I'm back this year.
So your role tonight as field reporter, you'll be up with us in the booth. You'll be looking at the stats around the league, the games around the league, keeping us up to date with the standings around the league, which is pretty exciting considering it's one of the most competitive leagues for summer baseball.
Yeah, absolutely. Last season, we had a couple guys that were just drafted the other day. So looking at the stats, looking at what's happening around the league, looking at the future of Major League Baseball is it's definitely the best part about this job.
Now, Laura, turning over to you, it's both of ours first year in the NECBL. How excited are you to be the voice of the Mystic Schooners?
I'm ecstatic, and being with the Schooners is going to be fantastic. Really awesome atmosphere out at the Schooners home field out at Fitch High School in Connecticut. So it's just going to be a fun time and a great summer.
Now, looking at Mystic's roster, what jumps out to you right away?
Well, right now it's the amount of people who we have currently on the roster, 33 guys, and from what I can see, mostly pitchers, and we only have about 27 with us today. So it's going to be a little bit of disjoint, and watching these guys, at their scrimmage on Monday night, it's going to be a pretty good season, I think.
All right, first pitch set for 6:35 between the Gulls and Schooners. Coming up next here on the NECBL Broadcast Network, the Gulls pregame show continues right now.
Welcome back to the pregame show here on the NECBL Broadcast Network. Nick Bell here with Art Hoven. Now, Art, you're starting tonight. There'll be thousands of people here tonight. What are you feeling right now going to this game?
I'm excited. I heard a lot about this program, and I'm looking forward to playing here.
And so you've been here for a few days now. What do you like the most about Newport? Like, have you gone out on the town or anything? Have you had a chance to go out and see Newport and the surrounding areas?
I'm loving it here so far. Everyone's friendly. Everyone's interested in the goals here, and it's a really nice community.
And what can we expect to see from you this summer here in Newport?
Just trying to give the best chance to win for these guys, and hopefully I can do my job.
Awesome. Thank you, Art.
Thank you.
And the pregame show continues next here on the NECBL Broadcast Network.
Welcome back to the Gulls pregame show on the NECBL Broadcast Network. It's time for the Manager's Show. I'm Stephen Huff alongside the Gulls manager, Kevin Winterroad. And Coach, you're back with the Gulls this summer. How does it feel to be back in Newport?
Newport's always a great place to spend the summer. They have a great baseball organization, and the whole NECBL is just a really good league to be a part of.
Of course, you've been in the NECBL for quite some time. You started with Newport in 2010. You took a hiatus, won the NECBL championship in 2013 with Keene, came back with the Gulls for the past 2 seasons as the pitching coach. Now you're back at the helm. How does that feel?
Well, the irony to this, I'm not sure I should admit this, but my actual first year coaching in this league was 2001. So I just enjoy the league, and head coaching is a different challenge as far as managing more people and things like that, but I enjoy both aspects of it. There's pluses that I really enjoy about being an assistant, but also being a head coach is also a fun experience. It's just different set of challenges, but I've been through both of them a number of times, so it's just more busy work, I guess is the best way to put it.
Now, obviously, it's a long season for this summer, but this opening week, these next 7 days, what are you looking for out of this group of guys?
Well, first and foremost, we just need to see what we have. That's the real early challenge, but more importantly, we just want to establish kind of an identity of playing hard and playing the game right, so that we kind of set the tone for all the new kids that come in, and also we kind of reestablish that Newport attitude that they had for a long time here.
Art Hoven starts on the mound tonight for you guys. What can fans look forward to out of him?
Well, I think he's got some really good stuff. He's left-handed, which makes him more difficult to deal with. But I really like. Again, we'll see what we have in him because it's awful tough in the short period of time we have. But I expect they're going to enjoy what they see from him.
All right, well, thank you, Coach. He's the Gulls manager, Kevin Winterroad. I'm Stephen Huff. Gulls and Schooners coming up next on the NECBL Broadcast Network. Welcome back to the Gulls pregame show on the NECBL Broadcast Network. I'm Stephen Huff, joined alongside the general manager of the Newport Gulls, Chuck Pava. Chuck, first of all, thank you for joining me here tonight for this. But you've been with the Gulls for quite some time. Every night here is special at Cardines Field, but there's nothing quite like opening night. How excited are you for it?
Well, every opening night naturally is exciting. It's sometimes a little bit overwhelming as you get all new interns, new players, sometimes new coaches, so it's a fresh start every year, and you've got to reteach everything again, but it'll all become routine very soon, and opening night's always exciting here at Cardines Field.
Do you have a favorite memory that comes to mind when you think of your time with the Gulls?
Well, it's been 19 years. This is our 19th season right here in Newport, and quite frankly, every night's favorite, my favorite. What I get most out of this whole experience for me is the relationships you build with these players. You know, today was the Major League Draft over the last 3 days, and we had 3 guys taken on in the first round and multiple guys thereafter. When I left my office today, we probably had as much as 12 or 13 guys taken after 20 rounds. That's a lot of guys. But, you know, the beauty of that is I probably got a text message or an email or something from almost every one of them who said, thank you for the experience you gave me in Newport. That was part of what gave me this opportunity today. So, hey, listen, we're about these guys, and that's what it's about.
You're able to build a connection with the players and those families. You're also able to build a connection with Newport and the community in Newport. What are some nights that the Newport community can look forward to that you guys are putting on here at Cardines?
Sure. I mean, we have, at the early part of the year, we have a lot of groups coming in, community nights where people are raising money. We really get busy with some of our theme nights more towards the middle of the end of June when school's out, and then in July. But we always have our traditional military appreciation night, American Heroes Night for police, fire, EMT. We have an ALS night this year. I'm sorry, not ALS, Alzheimer's night. Our Star Wars night. We have a Boston Red Sox night. I mean, we had some really cool things coming up. I think one of the exciting things for the fan base is we're giving away a car this year. So, I mean, if somebody comes and gets lucky, who knows? They can drive off with the Honda.
You guys are doing it all. Obviously, the Gulls missed the playoffs the past 2 seasons. You're in charge of building the rosters. Well, how does that change when you're building the roster for this summer?
You know, it changes just a little bit. Not much, you know, because the process is the process. The last 2 years we didn't make the playoffs. We're more circumstantial. I've said this a number of times. You know, we had guys arrive late because of the NCAA. Last year we had guys leave late in the year because of injuries. You can't control some of those things, so we put together the best guys who we feel are going to be committed to staying here for the summer, and that's really what it's about. If they committed to staying this summer, then we'll be as good as anybody on the field.
All right, first pitch between the Schooners and Gulls set for 6:35. The Gulls pregame show continues right now on the NECBL Broadcast Network.
Once again, here's Stephen Huff and the Newport Gulls broadcast team.
We're here from the historic Cardines Field in Newport, Rhode Island. We're ready for some NECBL baseball here on Newport Hospital opening night, where the first 1,000 fans get a free magnet schedule courtesy of Domino's Pizza. How you doing, everybody? I'm Stephen Huff, joined alongside the voice of the Mystic Schooners to my left in the broadcast booth, Laura Hoover, and the Gulls field reporter Nick Bello to my right here on the NECBL Broadcast Network. And guys, I know it's opening week. Laura, I'll turn to you first. How important are these first few games for these teams getting started?
Well, every time that there's a new team, a new season, all the first games, about the first week or so, the most important, because all the players are figuring each other out, sets the tone for the season going forth and really sets the motivation for the team as well.
We're getting set here tonight between the Gulls and the Schooners. We're going to send it field side just for a moment as we're getting ready for tonight's singing of the national anthem.
Do hereby proclaim Wednesday, June 5th, 2019 as Newport Gulls Opening Day 2019.
Thank you, Mayor Bova. The Newport Gulls would like to thank tonight's sponsor, Newport Hospital. Newport Hospital was founded in 1873 to serve the people of Newport County. Its wide array of health services includes an emergency department, an award-winning birth center, advanced surgical and orthopedic services, primary care.
That was Newport Mayor Bova speaking to the fans here at Cardines Field. Now, Nick, I'll go back to you after we heard from the Mayor Bova. Thank you, Laura, for talking about how important these first few games are. But, of course, Newport, and this applies to Mystic as well, but some of the players still aren't here yet for Newport. How does that affect these teams moving forward?
Yeah, as you said, this is a huge problem throughout summer collegiate baseball. So right now, it's a little bit of a weird time for both of these teams. You got guys coming in. You got guys who may be here for a few weeks just as temp players, as we have on the Newport Gulls right now, and probably on the Mystic Schooners as well. Yeah, I mean, everybody's just trying to get to know each other. Guys just came in last week. They maybe even came in a few days ago. So everybody's just trying to get to know each other, and it's definitely difficult to manage your team under these conditions. But hopefully by June, July, everything will be sorted out, and we can finally see some great baseball.
Laura, we were talking before the broadcast. Part of the problem, you watched an exhibition game for the Schooners. You noticed how the communication with these guys just isn't quite there yet. When does that come with these teams in summer ball?
Honestly, after probably the first week. first week, and you should be good to go. And a lot of these guys, I was watching them in practice yesterday, really worked on the communication in between the outfield and the infield, especially down the left field line. There was definitely real bad miscommunication in the exposition game where people were colliding, and you can't collide. I mean, that causes injuries. So working that out was a rough spot, but I think they got it down so far. So after the first week, should be good to go.
Nick, I'll talk to you about this one. Obviously, you were here last year. When did you notice the communication and the bond between the team last year kind of getting better? When did you notice these players kind of gelling a little bit more?
Yeah, that's definitely something that happens towards maybe even the end of June, July. We were fortunate enough to have a very great team, a very close team last year. I enjoyed being around all those guys last year. So I noticed that around maybe end of June or early July was when everybody started, talking to each other more. You had like inside jokes with each other on the team. So yeah, I would say that's when.
I know the general manager for the Gulls, Chuck Pava. One of his sentiments about summer ball is June is spring training. July is kind of when things actually get going, and that kind of rings true when you actually see it come to effect.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's probably the most true statement I've heard about summer collegiate baseball. I mean, that should be their motto, honestly.
And when you talked about how communication can kind of be something that teams struggle with, especially early on, it doesn't get that any easier, especially when you come to Cardines for your first game. I mean, look at the dimensions out here. We got 315 to left, 365 to left center, 395 to dead center, 340 to right center, and 285 to right. The fences are kind of all over the place, and it can kind of play tricks, especially on the outfielders.
Yeah, especially right now, too, that we have a fog rolling in. And once it gets dark, too, the lights, you can't really see in certain spots. So, yeah, the tricks in this field are unreal.
That is something we will be keeping our eyes on is the fog delay here. Potential fog delay. There are other rainouts in the NECBL right now that we will cover later. Hopefully we are able to avoid any delays here tonight. But we are getting set here for the national anthem as we announce tonight's color guard or honor guard as we take it down to the field now.
At this time, I kindly ask you all to rise and remove your caps as the singing of the national anthem will be performed by Loriana DiCrescenzo. She's Newport Hospital's Chief Development Officer, a trained opera singer, and sang last year's national anthem on opening day.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars
Giovanna De Crescenzo doing a wonderful job for our national anthem here on opening night at Cardines Field in Newport, Rhode Island. Stephen Huff alongside the voice of the Mystic Schooners, Laura Hoover, and our field reporter for the Newport Gulls, Nick Bello. Let's take a look at the lineups. We'll start with the Mystic Schooners. Laura, I'll let you take this one over.
Well, starting off for the Schooners, we got number 18, Steve Barmakian, playing out at third base. Number 13, Dave Beam out in center. Number 11, Nolan Kessinger out in right field. Number 8, Shane Kelly out in left field. Number 40, Alex Stiegler at first base, the designated hitter. Number 6, Josh McGuire. Then number 16, Isaiah Byers out at second base. Number 19, Will Lucas at shortstop. And number 17, Michael Caruso behind the plate as the catcher.
And they will be facing off against number 9, Art Hoven, who will be given the ball on the mound for the Gulls. He is from Missouri. This spring had an ERA of 4.33, had a 3-1 record through 19 appearances, had 9 starts, pitched 43 and 2/3 innings, gave up 35 hits, 25 runs, 21 of them earned, had 51 strikeouts in those 43 and 2/3 innings pitched, while only surrendering 34 walks. For the Gulls lineup, it will be Scott Halswasser, number 4, leading off from Northeastern, while also playing second base, followed by Jacob Gustin from Bryant, who will be playing third tonight for the Gulls. Hudson Haskin will be batting third from Tulane and playing center field. Batting cleanup will be Brett Vosick and playing left from Kansas, followed by Zade Walker from Michigan State and playing right. Then following Walker will be Ryan Tuhers from Villanova playing first base. Batting 7th will be Austin James from Missouri and playing shortstop. Batting 8th will be Peter Cerruto from Rutgers, who will be in charge of the duties behind the dish. And batting 9th will be Greg Cavalieri from Rhode Island, who will be the designated hitter tonight for the Gulls. And for the lineup, or for the pitcher, who the Gulls will be facing for the Schooners. Laura, take it away.
We have Trey McLaughlin from Fairfield University, hometown of Shelton, Connecticut. He wears the jersey number 22 this afternoon. And, well, out of a few appearances, 4 wins, 5 losses, and no saves. With 63 innings pitched, his ERA is 6.14, coming off the end of his 2019 season, allowing 70 hits, 51 runs. Not too bad. Only 43 of them earned and 26 walks, only 4 home runs, and 67 strikeouts. Only hit 9 batters this season.
Our umpires tonight will be Scott Malloy at first base. Behind the dish will be Joe Gravina, and then Robert McHugh along the third base field side. The weather tonight, it looks a little bit foggy right now. It is cloudy and 61 degrees. 10-mile-per-hour wind coming out of the south. The real feel is 59 degrees. There are some showers coming our way. Looks to be 80% chance at 11. Hopefully the game is over by then. Otherwise, we might be in extras at that point. What we're going to do right now is send it to break. When we're back, we should have the defensive alignments, and then it should be game time. You're listening to NECBL Baseball on the NECBL Broadcast Network. Gulls and Schooners set for 6:35. We are moments away here on the NECBL Broadcast Network. Stephen Huff, joined by the voice of the Mystic Schooners, Laura Hoover, and the Gulls field reporter, Nick Bello. Thank you both for joining me here tonight. Let's take a quick run through the defense alignments for both teams. I'll start with the Gulls since they are in the field right now. Of course, on the mound, we already went through him, Art Hoven from Missouri. Behind the plate will be Peter Cerruto from Rutgers. We'll start in the outfield. Going from left to right will be Brett Vosick of Kansas, Hudson Haskin of Tulane, and Zaid Walker of Michigan State. Going from left to right in the infield as well will be Jacob Gustin of Bryant, Austin James of Missouri, Scott Halswasser of Northeastern, and Ryan Tuhers of Villanova.
For the Mystic Schooners, in the outfield, it goes Kelly, Beam, and Kessinger. In the infield, Barmakian, Lucas, Byers, and Stiegler. Behind the plate, Caruso. And on the mound is McLaughlin. And then for starting off for the Maple Leafs, in the top of the inning, Steve Barmakian for the Schooners.
Taking a look at these two programs, the Mystic Schooners finished 22-21 last season, finishing in third place and clinching the final spot in the Southern Division to make the playoffs. They went on to play the number 2 seed Ocean State Waves in the Southern Division wildcard, where they were eliminated in the one-game wildcard series. On the other side of things, Newport failed to make the playoffs, going 21-23. They had an up-and-down streaky season riddled with injuries. Players had to go back early. They were in a final game of the season where they ended up falling to Mystic. If they would have won that, they would have been in the playoffs. But they ended up losing by a score of 7-4. Of course, the playoff format, you guys, changed a couple years ago. That was an adaptation the league made a couple seasons ago. It used to be 4 teams from each side, the North and the South, made the playoffs. Now it is just 3, showing progress that the NECBL made. And of course, now there is a new rule, a new adaptation that the league is making with extra innings. Now when extra inning starts, there will be a runner on second base to start each extra inning. And if they go through 2 extra innings, the game will end in a tie. Now this isn't a rule that is exclusive to the NECBL. It is adapted from the major and minor leagues. It is not in the major leagues, but it is in the minor leagues and other summer collegiate leagues. So it is not exclusive to the NECBL. And by no means are we here to critique the rule by any means, but to at least break it down and make some sense of it. So Nick, I'll turn to you first as Steve Barmakian settles into the plate. Why is this rule put into place for the NECBL, or why did they adapt it from the minor leagues?
Well, this is just a testing phase of the rule. You see this a lot throughout many sports. They'll start at the lower levels and work their way up with the rule. So if it works here, it's going to work in the Major League Baseball and so on. So the rule, from what I can assume, was put in place.
So this first pitch misses low, 1-0.
So it was put in place, from what I can assume, just to speed up the game. You know, baseball has been criticized for being too slow within the past decade. It's starting to lose a big audience that it once had as America's pastime. So it's similar to what college football did with their overtime, with starting the ball at the 20 or 25 yard line. It's just to speed up the game and these games faster and have fans going home happy.
That 1-0 pitch was chopped foul along the third base line, 1-1. You talked about pace of play. This 1-1 pitch from Hoven, fastball catches the heart of the plate, 1-2. Another part of it is the injury aspect of it. You don't want to overexpose these players.
No, you don't. I mean, a lot of these players coming off their 2019 season, and a pretty harsh season, too.
2-2.
Season so far, I know for a lot of the Schooners players, a lot of them faced some sort of minor injury throughout their seasons, twisted ankle concussions here and there. 3 or 4 of the players had them, but
this 2-2 pitch catches Barmakian, looking for strike 3. First out of the day, first strikeout of the day for Hoven. There's one away in the top of the first. But you're right, Laura. These guys are coming off long seasons, and now in summer ball, the point of these leagues, although it is competitive, you don't want to overexpose these guys because it's really here to develop them and get them to the next level. As now David Beam settles in. First pitch misses just outside. 1-0.
Beam, I was watching him during the scrimmage. First pitch that he saw, nailed one outside the center field fence, and then stand-up double last time he was up at the plate. So expecting good things from him this season.
Second pitch from Hoven, misses outside once again. 2-0. Beam, one of the standout players to look out for, you say, for the Schooners. Lefty on righty matchup. Hoven on the 2-0, misses low. 3-0. Now, if you are watching the broadcast right now and not listening to it, you're looking at a view from center field. That is actually a new camera that the Gulls have in place, as this 3-0 pitch misses outside for ball 4. So 4 straight pitches that missed the plate. We'll put aboard Beam on first. First walk of the day for Hoban on the mound. One away will bring up Kessinger. But that new view from center field is the 7th camera the Gulls have now during this broadcast. Hoban looks over to first, delivers an off-speed pitch over the plate for strike 1.
Kessinger coming off a season with a .265 batting average. Has been doing some solid work so far. Seen him in practice. Been well-placed balls, although it's Beam and also Josh McGuire, the two people you got to look out for with the speed on the base path.
Kessinger with a .265 average, .337 on base, and .325 slugging. He plays at University of Massachusetts. This one pitch misses outside, 1-1. Hoban working from the third base side of the rubber. Kessinger working with an even stance. This pitch misses low, 2-1. Beam not really getting too much of a lead over there at first, although Hoban has already thrown over there once. Lefty keeping him honest. Lefty on lefty matchup at the plate. This pitch misses inside, 3-1. So after an early strikeout, now Hoban misses 4 pitches to Beam, and now it's a 3-1 count to Kessinger. And he misses low and inside once again, so 2 straight walks for Hoban on the mound after the quick strikeout. Now there's runners on first and second, 1 in scoring position for the Schooners cleanup hitter.
Shane Kelly, returner for the Schooners. Did some solid work last year from my understanding, and looks to be a continuing asset to the team throughout the season.
Kelly hitting .244 this spring for Bryant. Hoban misses just low for ball 1. Fans continue to trickle into Cardines Field here in Newport, Rhode Island. This 1-0 is going to be flown into right field. Zaid Walker underneath it for out number 1. Guns it over to second, but back at second is Beam, keeping him honest from right field.
Alex Stiegler is actually on the roster for the Schooners as a pitcher, although he does double out in the outfield from time to time throughout his season. So seeing him and eventually Connor Nolan, both players that can double on the mound and in the field play.
This first pitch from Hoban to Stiegler, misses low, 1-0. Again, runners on first and second with 2 away. Stiegler hit an even 200 for Yale this spring, and he's going to foul this one right back into the netting behind home plate. 1-1. Stiegler an even 200 with 260 on base and 325 slugging. Playing first base today for the Schooners. Is this 1-1 pitch? Misses up and away. Count now 2-1. Lots of fog coming in from the bay behind the field at Cardines. This 2-1 pitch catches the outside edge of the zone. 2-2.
Yeah, fog's been rolling in pretty steady for the past hour or so. Spurts of more dense fog and spurts of more light fog.
We already have the lights on here. This 2-2 pitch off speed is going to be flown into right
And off the top of the warehouse in foul territory, count remains even at 2. Of course, Laura, you're from Indiana, so
Yeah.
you're not used to this fog at all, are you?
Not of this intensity. I live up by the lake, Michigan, so we do get fog from time to time, but not like this. Although you're also from the Midwest, so how does this feel for you?
Yeah, I'm from Omaha, Nebraska, and we get nothing of this sort, that is for sure. The 2-2 from Hoven. Swung on and missed for strike 3. And that will retire the side for the Schooners. So no runs cross off of no hits, but 2 walks as the Schooners leave 2 stranded. Heading into the bottom of the first, it is still tied at 0 here on the NECBL Broadcast Network. Halswasser will lead it off for the Gulls, followed by Jacob Gustin and Hudson Haskins. Stephen Huff alongside Laura Hoover, the voice of the Mystic Schooners. And alongside as well, Nick Bello, the field reporter of the Newport Gulls. Scott Halswasser for Northeastern, Jacob Gustin of Bryant University, and Hudson Haskin of Tulane. Of course, the pitcher for the Mystic Schooners is Trey McLaughlin. We teased his stat line at the beginning of the broadcast. What exactly can we expect of him tonight here?
Well, we can definitely expect a curveball coming from him. I talked to him a few days ago when he came by, and he said that his curveball was his best pitch, although he does have the fastball in which he likes to throw. So working between 2 different pitches, he likes to catch people off guard, and, well, we'll see how he does tonight.
Not only does he like to catch batters off guard, he kind of caught us off guard when he described his curveball. He described it as a curve, but turns into a slurve as this first pitch is going to be lined out of play along the third base line. 0-1, but it's a curve that somewhat turns into a slurve, and he didn't sound too convincing about it, but it was entertaining nonetheless.
You know, it is what it is, and it's his pitch, so he can describe it however he feels like it.
His 0-1 fastball is going to catch Halswasser swinging. 0-2.
Well, he may be singing out there, but McLaughlin also comes from Danbury, as he played in his 2018 summer season as well. So he's definitely familiar with the league and the style of play from out here.
This 0-2 pitch is going to be fouled back into the screen. Count remains. Trey McLaughlin from Fairfield, but as you mentioned, played at Danbury last season in the NECBL. Had a 6.14 ERA this spring for Fairfield. So this 0-2 pitch misses up. 1-2. Halswasser at the dish for the Gulls. Hit .254 this spring for Northeastern. .394 on base with a .402 slugging. And there's the curve we were talking about from McLaughlin. Catches Halswasser swinging for strike 3. First strikeout of the day for McLaughlin on the mound. So both pitchers tonight for both teams started off hot with a strikeout. Hoven caught Barmaken looking at the top of the first, and now the first batter that McLaughlin saw caught him swinging. That'll bring up Jacob Gustin for the Gulls. First pitch to Gustin misses low. 1-0. Gustin for Bryant University hit .287 this spring. He's going to ground this one along the first base line and foul. 1-1. Hit .287 this spring with a .396 on base percentage. So a guy no one could keep off the base paths. This 1-1. Going to be flown into center field. Beam settling underneath it, tracking back, and is there for out number 2.
Something else that McLaughlin was talking to me about earlier on was how he really wanted to work on his consistency, as that has been quite shaky when he gets up into the higher number of pitches. So with the amount of pitch count being heavily monitored by the league this year, consistency is going to become more and more of a key factor as we see later on in the season when we get the stretches of 5-6 games in a row with no break in between.
Hudson Haskin at the plate for the Gulls. First pitch to Haskin over the heart of the plate for strike one. Haskin hit .372 this spring for Tulane as a freshman. .459 on base with .647 slugging. That's an OPS of 1.106, so an OPS over 1,000 as a freshman. That's about as good as it can get for anyone across the nation, regardless of what year you are, but to do it as a freshman is remarkable. Now this 0-2. Going to be swung on and flown along the first base line. Stiegler coming over for it. It's going to go on top of the warehouse once again as 3 Schooners were corralling underneath it, but to no avail. Count remains.
I don't think they're going to ever get it, and I don't think it ever came down.
Yeah, I don't think there's any side of that baseball right now. So count remains 0-2 to Haskin. McLaughlin making quick work of this Gulls lineup early on. Righty on righty matchup. McLaughlin working from the first base side of the rubber, delivers an 0-2 fastball that misses up. Haskin was tempted but kept the bat back. Count now 1-2. One-two pitch, swung on and missed. Had a ball that ended up in the left batter's box, and the catcher corrals it and throws to first in time for out number 3. So 3 up, 3 down for the Gulls in the bottom half of the first, heading into the second, tied at 0 here on the NECBL Broadcast Network. Josh McGuire leads it off for the Schooners. Stephen Huff alongside Laura Hoover and Nick Bello. Lefty on lefty matchup for Hovind on the mound. Josh McGuire hit .242 for Maryland this spring as he swings and misses at this first fastball. Down and low at the plate, 0-1. 0-1 pitch from Hovind. Misses just outside, 1-1.
For McGuire, you definitely want to watch out for the early fastball. That's what he's going to be swinging at. And as we saw, first pitch he saw, swung at, was a little bit too high for his liking, but he will swing at that fastball if you give it to him.
Swung at another fastball just now on the 1-1 count over the heart of the plate. Count now 1-2. Hovind working quickly on the 1-2. Caught him swinging with an off speed for strike 3. Third strikeout of the day for Hovind on the mound. So both pitchers are working quickly on the mound, and both of them had 2 strikeouts in the first, and now Hovind, just how he started the first, started the second with a strikeout. That'll bring up Isaiah Byers of Alabama. Hit .273 this spring with .333 on base percentage. First pitch misses for ball 1.
Byers also with 3 hits, and all 3 of them RBIs. Only 1 walk and 5 strikeouts in 6 games and 11 at-bats.
This 1-0 pitch caught Byers swinging. Strike 1. Lefty on righty matchup. Byers crouched down into his stance. Is going to line this one into the netting along the first base side, and it bounced off the netting and hit Jim Sorrow, one of the Gulls coaches in the dugout, standing just outside the dugout. Count now 1-2 as this 1-2 pitch misses just outside. 2-2.
I mean, we want to prevent injuries on all the players, but I think coaches should be included in that as well.
We can only do so much with all the netting that we have over here. I think that one was on Sorrow, not keeping a heads up. As this off-speed pitch misses low. Count now full first full count of the day for Hovind on the mound.
I don't know about you, but I think everyone should have their own personal netting. That way we don't have netting. Let's have a nice little box of net around each person.
This 3-2 pitch is going to be chopped foul. So every time you walk into a gate at a ball game, they hand you your own personal net.
Yeah. Or
that would solve if you're crunched with your own seat. That would solve your own personal space issue.
Exactly.
It's going to be swung on and missed. Ceruto handles it in the dirt and throws the first in time for out number 2. So 6 outs so far for the Gulls. 4 of them have come as strikeouts for Hovind on the mound. Personal nets, huh?
I like it. Nice little box.
We're talking about rule changes earlier in the broadcast.
Uh-huh.
That could be something that they're looking to adapt.
Well, I mean, we just reopened the netting debate recently in the MLB, so I'm proposing personal nets for everybody.
This first pitch to Will Lucas is going to be flown out of play along the right field side and into the streets of Newport, 0-1. Will Lucas did not get a hit in 25 at-bats for UConn this spring. So 1 pitch misses low, 1-1. Did not register a hit in 25 at-bats, but he did have a 103 on-base percentage. Did work 3 walks and had 2 RBI in those 25 at-bats. So he did have some productive at-bats. He does have talent. There's a reason he is in the NECBL. This pitch is going to be grounded, right back to Hovind and into center field. And so he already has his first hit of the summer, and it's the first hit off of Hovind. And with 2 outs, there's 1 aboard first.
Well, I suppose that solves his dry issue of hitting over the regular season.
So with that 2-out single, that'll bring up Michael Caruso, the catcher for the Schooners.
Also, so from Fairfield University, he came in early last week as we had catcher accidentally hurt his thumb, so he had to leave early. So he came in his stead.
And you said he came in early last week, had to be one of the first players to report them. A lot of these players play in the tournament, postseason tournament for NCAA, so a lot of them are just getting here. Earlier this week, a couple days ago, as this 0-1 pitch breaking ball in the zone and swung at and missed by Caruso.
Yeah, Schooners still have, I think, 3 players that just finished their season, so they're coming in later on today or tomorrow, I believe.
This pitch is swung on and missed as well for strike 3, so that will be out number 3. And aside from the single, Hovind strikes out the side, so no runs cross off of 1 hit. No walks and no errors heading into the bottom of the second. Still tied at 0 here on the NECBL Broadcast Network.
The NECBL.
4, 5, 6 hitters due up for the Gulls here in the bottom of the second. Stephen Huff alongside Laura Hoover and Nick Bello. Brett Bosick of Kansas will lead it off for the Gulls, followed by Zaid Walker of Michigan State and Ryan Tours of Villanova. On the mound still for the Schooners, of course, is Trey McLaughlin in his second inning of work. In the first, he struck out 2 and got Jacob Gustin to fly out to center. So making quick work of the Gulls lineup. And frankly, making it look easy so far. Bosick from Omaha, Nebraska. His dad played baseball at the University of Nebraska, and his mom played softball at the University of Nebraska. And following in their footsteps, he chose to play baseball at the University of Kansas, naturally.
Obviously. I mean, you have to.
He is having a very successful career, though, at the University of Kansas, with a .261 average this spring, as this 0-1 pitch breaking ball misses inside. Count now 1-1. .261 average this spring with .341 on base percentage. .425 slugging. This 1-1 fastball going to be flown out of play along the third base line and over towards the train station. Count now 1-2.
So I wonder how many car windows get broken on the season passing by.
Quite often, especially in batting practice past the fence in right field. There are quite a bit of cars that have broken windshields. As this 1-2 pitch misses up. Count now 2-2. This 2-2 pitch misses in the dirt. They're going to say Vosick went around on his check swing, and the throw to first is in time for strike 3. Third strikeout of the day for McLaughlin on the mound. First out here in the bottom of the second. That'll bring up Zaid Walker. This first pitch to Zaid. Two-seam fastball over the heart of the plate. 0-1. Zaid hit .285 this spring for the Spartans. .309 on-base percentage. And a .363 slugging percentage as he chops this one foul along the third base line. As a freshman, third best average on the team and was second in doubles and runs scored. This pitch curve catches him swinging on the outside edge for strike 3. So another strikeout for McLaughlin. Third in a row, fourth of the day.
Well, I do suppose he's getting that work out of his slurve.
Certainly, he's had 2 strikeouts on it already. It's now this first pitch to Tours. Fastball misses up and away. 1-0. Tours of Villanova. This is going to be flown into left center. Off the wall, caroming off of it. Kelly with it. Tours rounding first over to second with the stand-up double. That is the first hit of the year for the Gulls. First hit off of McLaughlin as well. Now there is a runner in scoring position with 2 away for Austin James.
Nice placement by him as Beam just wasn't able to make the grab, and honestly Kelly hesitated a little bit before turning his back and running out towards center, so nice placement in the gap.
This first pitch fastball to James misses in the dirt. 1-0. Tours with a little bit of opposite field power there. Brings up Austin James. Hit .195 this spring for Missouri, but 10 of his 17 hits were extra base hits, including 3 home runs in those 10 hits. So he has some serious power as he swings and misses at this pitch on the outside edge. 1-1. Two away here in the bottom of the second. Runner on second. Count 1-1. McLaughlin looking on righty matchup. Working from the first base side of the rubber. This 1-1 pitch swung at and tipped into Caruso's glove. Count now 1-2. McLaughlin looking on out of the stretch. The 1-2 pitch misses low and away. They're going to say James was able to hold back his check swing. Count now even at 2. Gulls fans getting into it now. Crowd well over 2,000 at this point. They averaged over 2,000 last year. This 2-2 curve swung at and missed for strike 3. 5th strikeout of the day for McLaughlin ends the inning, so no run score off of 1 hit. No errors as the Gulls leave one stranded. Heading in to the top of the third, still tied at 0 here on the NECBL Broadcast Network. Top of the lineup due up for the Schooners here in the top of the third here on the NECBL Broadcast Network. Steve Barmaken, followed by David Beam and Nolan Kessinger, as Art Hoven, the lefty from Missouri, is still on the mound for the Gulls. Stephen Huff alongside Laura Hoover and Nick Bello, the field reporter for the Newport Gulls. Both pitchers, we've already mentioned it in the broadcast, making quick work of both lineups. So far, Hoven has 5 strikeouts, and so far McLaughlin on the other side of things for the Schooners also has 5, so it's a little bit of anything you can do, I can do better right now for both pitchers.
Well, we'll see how that goes with Barmankian. Struck out last time he was up at the plate, although he has the power potential behind his bat.
This first pitch, off speed in there for strike 1. Caught Barmaken looking. Struck out in the first, as you said, looking to start things off here in Newport, Rhode Island. Barmaken doesn't strike out often, as this one pitch misses low and inside. Count now 1-1. This spring for George Washington, he worked 38 walks and only struck out 22 times. So an impressive rate, as this 1-1 pitch misses low and inside and dribbles back to the backstop. 2-1.
The past 2 years, he was one of the leaders on George Washington Colonials, leading in runs on the team. So definitely has the power. Well, whether he shows it or not tonight is the bigger question.
This 2-1 curveball misses up. Count now 3-1. To Barmaken at the plate. Lefty on lefty matchup. Hoven delivers a fastball that misses inside for ball 4. Third walk of the day for Hoven on the mound. That'll bring up David Beam. And leadoff walk is never what you want to do to start any inning.
I mean, the first batter normally sets the tone for the remainder of the inning, and even more so the first few pitches of the game sets the tone for the remainder of the game.
This first pitch to Beam. Fastball up, catches him swinging 0-1. Beam, first plate appearance of the day, worked a walk in the first on 4 pitches, was later stranded at second. This 0-1 pitch is going to be grounded over in between first and second into right field. And the Schooners have runners on first and second.
So interesting thing about Beam, he started in all 3 outfield positions as a freshman before landing himself out in left field and then moving himself into center field.
So a little bit of versatility.
A little bit.
I'm sure that's a good problem to have if you're the Schooners coach.
You could place him anywhere.
So runners on first and second for the Schooners. That'll bring up Nolan Kessinger. Also worked a walk in the first. As he watches this breaking ball miss. 1-0. Lefty on lefty matchup. Kessinger at the dish with an open stance. Front leg tilted towards the second baseman. He lays down a bunt throw, only throws to first base in time for out number 1. Throw to third, trying to catch Barmaken sleeping, but he's back sliding in time safely. So runners on second and third, 2 in scoring position with only 1 away for the Schooners cleanup man, Shane Kelly. Kelly 0 for 1 today, flew out to Zaid Walker in right field. This first pitch, breaking ball in the dirt, checked his swing, 1-0.
During Kelly's freshman season, he missed a few games due to injury, although he was still a high draft pick in the 2018, but continued to play collegiately.
So now this 1-0 pitch, another off speed in there this time for strike one. Count now even at 1. Saw another player on the Schooners roster, Daidai Otaka, struggled with injuries, was healthy this year. This 1-1 pitch catches the outside zone, another off speed, 1-2. Of course, he's not going to play today, but good to see him back healthy because you saw his numbers spike back up. Going to be a useful player for the Schooners moving forward.
Yeah, I'm not too sure what is happening to him currently. He's not eligible to play today, and I'm not sure if he's just hurting a little bit after the season or what's going on.
This 1-2 pitch is going to catch Kelly looking at the bottom half of the zone for strike 3. That's the 6th strikeout of the day for Hoven on the mound. That will be out number 2 here in the top of the 3rd. So with 2 away, with runners on 2nd and 3rd, that'll bring up Alex Stiegler. Stiegler 0 for 1. Struck out swinging to end the 1st. He's going to line this one towards the third base side, but hooking foul. 0-1.
Almost hits the poor cameraman over there.
Got to stay on your toes. With the 7 camera setup the Gulls have, they have 2 on top of the first base dugout, and they have the L screens now to protect them from any foul balls, but they do have a rogue cameraman trying to get action shots along the third base line, and he is amidst all the action.
Not even padding or a helmet.
Nope.
Props to that guy.
Now, I've stood over there before, and it is scary, I must admit.
As this pitch is going to go back to the backstop and come right back to Ceruto. Both runners go back to 2nd and 3rd. And go ahead, Nick, what were you saying about being over there?
Oh, no, I've stood over there before. It's scary. Without, just like he is right now, with no padding or no helmet.
Well, you wear cameras quite a bit for the Gulls, so you've kind of been all around the area. Padding, L screens, without L screens, it all seems pretty intimidating.
On top of the warehouse once.
This curveball misses just outside. Count now 2-1 to Stiegler at the plate. Lefty on righty matchup. Even with an L screen, I would still be a little intimidated if a ball was coming at me that quick off the bat. So now this 2-1 pitch. It's going to be fouled back into the screen behind the plate.
Now that last shot you got there was of the warehouse, as you can see on your screen right now. It's pretty high up.
You were up there at one point.
At one point last year, I did manage to make friends with the people who own the warehouse. One night I was roaming around.
You see, that seems like fun to me. I would love to be up there.
It was a great time. The people up there were very nice. So once it gets harder during the summer, you'll start to see more people on top of the roof to bring chairs.
I was about to say.
They had a dog up there too.
We'll have more about the warehouse in a bit. Hoven catches Stiegler swinging for strike 3. That'll end the inning. Score is still 0-0 heading into the bottom of the 3rd here on the NECBL Broadcast Network. In Newport, Rhode Island, Cardines Field, Stephen Huff joined alongside Laura Hoover and Nick Bello, the field reporter for the Newport Gulls. And Nick, we are going to send it to you really quick for updates around the league. How are teams looking for opening day?
Well, thank you, Stephen. So we've had 2 postponements tonight, with the first one being Winnipesaukee Muskrats at the Vermont Mountaineers. That game is postponed and moved to a later date. And another one is Upper Valley against Keene in Keene. That one is also postponed. As for the games that are currently going on right now, we have a 5-0 lead for North Adams and Sanford. That game is being played in North Adams. North Adams leads 5-0. And then just down the road here with Ocean State Waves, in the bottom of the 4th, they lead Danbury 4-1. And of course, a 0-0 tie here in Mystic. Stephen, back to you.
Peter Ceruto will lead it off for the Gulls. Catcher from Rutgers, followed by Greg Cavalieri from Rhode Island. Ceruto grounds this one over to the third base side and foul. So a couple of rainouts already on opening day. Keene canceled theirs last night, and then you said there was another one already canceled, and that was canceled today. I believe that one was in Vermont.
Yes, and we also have a weird thing going on right now between Valley and Vineyard. Their score hasn't updated. It still says their start time is 6:30. So I want to assume they're in a delay.
Possible delay there.
I'm not sure because I've checked both teams' Twitter accounts, and there is nothing on this. They could be dealing with some fog like we had that could have postponed that game, but I'm trying to find more about that. I'll get back to you later.
In the meantime, McLaughlin has missed inside and missed outside. Count now 2-1 to Saruda. We were worried about a little bit of fog earlier. As this pitch misses outside. 3-1 now to the catcher from Rutgers. There is a bay right behind us that dips into the Atlantic Ocean. Fog comes quite heavily from there, and it leaks onto the field, and we can see quite a bit of fog delays that can last quite a bit of time, as this one's going to be dribbled foul. It was fair for a moment, bounced foul. Count now full for Saruda.
So we actually have an update now on the Valley Blue Sox game in Vineyard. So Valley leads 1-0 here with 3.5 innings.
Through 3.5 innings.
Yes.
Is that at Martha's Vineyard?
Yes.
Martha's Vineyard is the newest team to the NECBL. As this curveball is going to catch Cerudo looking for strike 3. 6th strikeout of the day for McLaughlin on the mound. So once again, anything Hovind can do, McLaughlin can do better. And that'll bring up Greg Cavalieri.
Personally, I am totally looking forward to going to Martha's Vineyard.
So
you take a ferry out.
We're going to have to take a ferry there. And Nick, I think you were telling me it's a 45-minute ferry ride?
Yes, that's not even including the car ride you have to take to the ferry terminal. So you have a very long trip in you sometime this season, my friend.
I was talking to our general manager about it.
This is first pitch from McLaughlin, misses low, 1-0. Now this 1-0 fastball misses up to Cavalieri, 2-0. Excuse me while I cut you off. What was your general manager saying, Laura?
They had to take fishing boats.
They had to take fishing boats.
On the way back because the ferry stopped due to time. So it's going to be interesting.
This 2-0 pitch was fouled back into the screen, 2-1.
That couldn't have been cheap at all.
Does the ferry shut down at any point?
Yes, I
think
it close? Midnight or somewhere in the early morning hours they might shut down. I mean, they got to sleep too.
Yeah,
right.
True that.
Yeah. This 2-1 pitch is going to be grounded over to the second base side. Byers with it and throws to first in time for out number 2. So quick 2 outs for McLaughlin on the mound. That'll flip the lineup over and bring up Scott Halswasser. So that's something to keep your eye on when the Gulls are heading over, or if you're keeping track of the Schooners this season, when they head over to Martha's Vineyard. 45-minute ferry ride there and back as this first pitch curveball catches Halswasser swinging for strike 1.
So I found the ferry schedule. The last ferry to depart, was it? Yes. So the last ferry to depart.
This 0-1 pitch misses low and
Vineyard
away, 1-1.
Is at 9:30.
9:30. There's no chance our games finish in time.
You might have to rent out a ferry or something. Find a fishing boat, as you said.
This 1-1 pitch is going to be fouled at the plate. 1-2. Maybe we'll all be swimming back.
I'm good.
Possibly.
I used to be a swimmer, but that's way past there.
45-minute ferry boat ride. I might need a life jacket if we're swimming back.
Maybe a wetsuit to go with it.
This 1-2 curveball is going to be flown towards the bullpens in left field. Kelly could not track it down in time. Count remains 1-2.
We were talking about rain a little bit earlier. Forecast for tomorrow is Schooners have a game against Winnipesaukee. Rain delay and cancellation are both on the table as of right now due to the rain. Updates on that probably later tonight, but could be a little bit of weather action tomorrow afternoon.
This 1-2 pitch misses low and away, ended up in the left-handed batter's box. Count now even at 2. Yeah, the forecast earlier in the week looked like Newport might not be able to get this game in.
Yep.
Then the fog came in today. We were worried about a delay. This 2-2 to Cavalieri is going to be popped up into shallow right. Byers calling everybody off. And then Beam came in to save the day for out number 3. So 3 up, 3 down for the Gulls in the third. Heading into the fourth, still tied at 0 here on the NECBL Broadcast Network. Top of the fourth here at Cardines Field in Newport, Rhode Island. Stephen Huff alongside Nick Bello and Laura Hoover of the Mystic Schooners. Laura, with it being the top of the fourth, I'm going to hand it over to you. Take it away.
Well, not gonna lie, I almost forgot that it was top of the fourth, as it was tied 0-0, leading things off for the Mystic Schooners. Josh McGuire, batting a .211 this past season, has one strikeout in his last at-bat in the top of the second inning. He is still facing off against Art Hoven, who's on the mound for Newport Gulls. Takes the first is ball one.
One thing I think that's interesting about Hoven, you saw him start to lose command of his fastball, starting to walk a lot of batters. As you see this pitch in there for strike one. He seemed to use his off speed a lot more as he goes through this lineup a second time, especially early on in counts.
And McGuire looks to have a little bit more understanding of his pitches as well. Takes a jab at the ball, knocks it into short. It's overthrown on Tours. It'll be on base. I believe that would be an error on Tours. So he tries to go down off the mound, pick up the ball after a short hop into the field, overthrown at first.
Yeah, I think that one's a safe E1 overthrow from Hoven. Coming off the mound on that one, turning and way overthrowing Tours. And walking the leadoff batter in the third. Now that uncostly error. Suddenly, Schooners runner in scoring position.
After the error, he moved up to second base as well on the throwback. And that does bring up Isaiah Byers to the plate, number 16. Be looking to get into the batter's box after a talk with Phil Orby, the head coach, who sits out on the third base side. Byers struck out in the second as well after he received a full count. Swings at the first pitch, unable to make contact, and there goes strike one. Looking for the next pitch from Hoven. Fine strike two, and the 0-2 count.
I think this is where Hoven needs to settle in a little bit, even with runners on, especially in scoring position. Needs to work ahead in counts. I think that's when all pitchers are most comfortable, but especially when you're falling behind, walking guys, getting guys in scoring position, getting those that first strike, those first couple of strikes, getting that extra sense of flexibility in those counts is crucial.
Hoven tried to get Byers to chase up high, no go, and Byers instead will line it down third base, although it will be classic 5-3 ground out, and McGuire moves ahead on the throw, taking over on third.
Nice heads up base running from McGuire, but first, nice play from Gustin at third, fielding that down the line. Excellent throw, showing off his power in his arm. They almost got actually McGuire on the throw back to third. The ball came out of his glove on the tag. Would have been a 50-50 call, at least from our angle.
That really was a beautiful scoop and throw over to first, as Will Lucas stepped up to the plate, able to land himself a hit last time in the second inning, except for he was stranded out on base. He'll take ball one. Lucas takes in the back door, and he will tell McGuire to hold out at third. And there's the 2-0 pitch.
So Hoven, now this is something to look out for. We talked about how he needs to work ahead in counts. Now falling behind 2-0 in this count with only one out runner, 90 feet away from scoring. And there he goes, working the off speed. Now count now 2-1. That's another thing we talked about at the top of this inning. Starting to work that off speed more. It seems like he's more comfortable working the off speed with this lineup. Falling behind in counts, working the off speed. That seems like what's going to be the MO for him moving forward.
In the dirt, and there goes the 3-1 count. Although we have seen an incredible amount of strikeouts, and that's been keeping the pitch count decently low, considerably, for both teams. However, Schooners have already stranded 5 people out on base, and McGuire, the furthest base runner that we've seen since Barmakian back in the 3rd. And that will be a walk for the Schooners as Lucas finds himself on first base.
I know that curveball missed up, but it had some movement on it, and that's not really the end of the world for Hoven. Maybe he was trying to get him to chase, but now it sets up a double play for the Gulls. Could get them out of this inning without any damage done, when at first you had a runner in scoring position with no outs. If you can get out of here with no runs, no harm done, you'll take that any day.
A visit to the mound. Looks to just go talk things down, as it will be Michael Caruso up to the plate for the Schooners. Caruso, not too bad of a season this past season, batting a .239 and slugging a .316 on base with .360. He's been hit 11 times, which is quite surprising. Struck out 43 times. Here's an interesting fact for a catcher. Stolen 6 bases already this past season. So you can run. Kind of surprising, as catchers normally aren't seen as the predominant runners on the team. Squatting all the time equals bad knees and bad for the health on that aspect. Although he will take strike 1 across the plate.
Yeah, you don't see that often with catchers being able to run. Usually it's they're the ones throwing the runners out.
True that. Got to have your courtesy runner lined up, ready to go for them. Outside, and that's the 1-1 count. Only 1 out, tied at 0 in the top of the 4th. And it's Caruso. Still at the plate for the Schooners. Hoven with the pitch, a swing, unable to make contact, and 2-1 the count. And on the throw over, it will be Will Lucas moving to second.
I actually think they caught him stealing, so I think that will be out number 2. He tried to get around the tag, but it was in time. He almost did, but nice tag there from Halswasser for out number 2. Also a nice throw from Ceruto behind the plate.
Very true. And that will end the inning as strikes him out going down. So with 2 left on base, we'll send it to the bottom of the 4th here on NECBL Network.
Hey.
Jacob Gustin, Hudson Haskin, and Brett Volskov next for the Newport Gulls. As due up in order. On the bottom of the 4th inning, on the plate so far, Gustin flew out to David Beam in center field last time. And still on the mound for the Schooners is Trey McLaughlin with a 6.14 ERA. Continues into his 4th inning of work. Behind the plate, Caruso. And I do not believe there's any defensive lineup changes besides that. So Barmakian, Lucas, Byers, and Stiegler in the infield. Kelly, Beam, and Kessinger in the outfield. Gustin up to the plate as he leads off the 4th inning. The 3rd baseman looking to get the ball rolling for the Gulls. Knocks one over the hump and deep into center field. Base hit. Might as well. First pitch he sees.
Yeah.
If he likes it, take it.
And I think that's what Winter Road's going to want from his Gulls hitters moving forward. And Coach Soro, the hitting coach for the Gulls, be more aggressive. At this point in the game, it's still 0-0. You can still make work of this game and come away with a win. Why not swing at the first pitch, especially if it's over the plate? A lot of them have been, and they've been just sitting and waiting for it. Gustin making quick work of that one and singling it right back up the middle.
Haskin does almost the same thing, although Beam waiting underneath it is going to fly out for the first out of the inning.
The end result doesn't always justify the means. In that scenario, it's still the same sentiment that matters. Swinging at the first pitch, it was over the plate. It was something Haskin can control and get around, though he flew out to center. I think it's the right message if it's there. You don't always want him swinging at the first pitch, just a swing. But if it's there and it's something that you can control, certainly you should attack.
It's definitely a nice change of pace as players are making contact with the ball, making the outfield work a little bit more instead of the pitcher doing all the work with striking people out. Brett Vosk, strike one, across the plate.
And even with that one, you can see the message has obviously changed with these hitters, him swinging at that one early too.
Pick up attempt at first, and he's back in plenty of time. Just trying to keep the runner in check. Here's McLaughlin. You generally don't see him thrown over to first too often.
Yeah, especially with him being a righty, you see a lot more lefties throwing over to the first base side.
Although as soon as we say that, there goes another pitch towards the first baseman.
Right on cue.
Might as well at this point. With one out, it's still the 0-1 count to Vosick. Pitch home in the dirt. Caruso violently blocking up the ball. Although no play to be made as Gustin is back on first in plenty of time. There goes the 1-1.
I like what Mystic did with their pitching decision tonight. McLaughlin obviously dealing on the mound, but also the catcher behind the plate is Caruso. And as you said earlier,
ground ball, and they're going to try for the double play. Unable to do so. So it will be fielder's choice as Gustin goes down 5-4.
As you said earlier, Caruso is the only catcher on the roster right now for Mystic. So out on the mound for opening day is McLaughlin, his pitcher at Fairfield. It only makes sense, so they're comfortable with each other. And you can see it on the mound. McLaughlin is comfortable on the mound, and he's dealing here on opening day. Smart move for Mystic, and it shows here tonight because they're having great success.
Another solid contact going for the third out, and it goes down 6-4 as Voskic will end out the inning. And then due up in the top of the fifth, start of the order for the Schooners. Barmakey, Beam, and Kessinger still knotted up at 0 apiece. It is the NECBL Broadcast Network. Steve Barmakey, David Beam, Nolan Kessinger due up in order for the Mystic Schooners as they lead things off in the top of the order. It is top of the fifth. Still knotted up at 0 apiece after another heavy hitting fourth inning. Finally seeing some contact, although that isn't saying too much with the score still being knotted up at 0. But not to worry, we still have plenty of game left. And who knows, we may see those extra inning rules come into effect here.
And there actually is a new pitcher on the mound for the Gulls. Relieving Art Hoven is Jordan Marks. Just completed his sophomore season at the University of South Carolina upstate. This spring he went 6-7 on the mound with a 4.44 ERA through 79 innings pitched. He had an ERA of 4.44, gave up 59 runs, 39 of them earned, had 64 strikeouts in those 79 innings, while only surrendering 19 walks. Opponents hit 258 off of him, and he had 5 hit batters with only 4 wild pitches. So pretty solid year for Marks at USC upstate.
as Homan gets retired. 4 innings pitched, 3 hits, no runs, no earned runs, obviously, 4 walks, and 7 strikeouts. Marks facing off Barmaking for the first time into foul territory, and that is the 0-2 count. Barmaking waiting for the next pitch as Marks gets set. Off the rubber and calls over his catcher.
And I think this is the communication that we were talking about at the top of the broadcast. These guys don't know each other. They just met 2 or 3 days ago, maybe if that. Some of these guys got off out of the plane a couple days ago and just drove to Newport maybe yesterday. And so Marks doesn't know his catcher Ceruto, and so they're kind of learning each other, learning their signs, learning what's this and what's that. And so to have a meeting at the mound already shouldn't be that much of a surprise at this point.
Marks a little bit slow getting set. And takes it with the 1-2 pitch. Barmakian struck out and was able to reach on a walk in the last 2 times. He was up at the plate. He was able to reach over on third base back in the 3rd inning before being stranded. Solid contact going into right field, into the fence, and he'll go in for 2. Hold up with the double. And again, able to reach base.
So a solid day for Barmaking at the plate. 1 for 2, but he's been on base already twice. And just like that, you're seeing some of the wacky dimensions that Cardines Field exhibits in right center. Kind of jets out a little bit. Some of the sister fields it has is Wrigley Field, Fenway Park. We'll get into that either later in the broadcast or on another one. But it's one of the oldest fields, if not the oldest in America.
Strike 1 for David Beam.
And so by virtue of that, it has quite a bit of character to it.
Character, you mean the plants growing into the chain link fence?
That is part of it. And actually, if you look into left field, I don't know if we can get a camera shot of it right now. Just past some of the signs in left field, over to the right of it, there is a cutout of one of the part of the top of the fence where there should be a fence.
Oh, I see. I see what
where
you're
a
talking
tree is, because they can't put the fence where the tree is, and they can't cut the tree.
Interesting. On the wild pitch, Barmaking will move over to third. And that leaves the 2-1
As
for Beam.
Our wonderful camera crew is getting a shot of where that tree is. There are 3 spots in Cardines Field that actually have cutouts, and so if a ball is hit into the tree, though it would not be over the fence anywhere else, if it hits the tree there, it is technically a home run.
Solid hit, almost directly to where we were just talking about. It's literally almost there. It hit the side of the fence. And
they are ruling it a home run.
Oh, that is a home run. Oh, broadcaster's curse, I suppose.
So right on cue there.
Hitting the tree, ruling it a home run. That's a 2-run homer for David Beam. And may I say, we were talking a little bit earlier. We saw this happen. Surprisingly, in the scrimmage, he hit a one deep into center, and I suppose he has perfect aim as well, going into tree lines.
I'm shocked right now. Did he hear us?
He might have heard us. So the rule is, if it hits a branch, a leaf, if it hits any part of that tree in the fence, on the fence, it is a home run. And it has caused some controversy in the past, as you could probably guess. But right there, you're seeing living proof of it being a home run.
Foul ball for Kessinger as he comes to the plate. I don't know. There's a few low-hanging branches right there.
So we mentioned that is a spot. There are 2, maybe 3. I think there are 2 other spots in Cardines where that will come into play or could come into play. We saw one spot. That is the most obvious spot
Yeah.
And it did come into play already.
0-2 for Kessinger. He fouls another one off with the pitch. And that's back again, a reset of the 0-2.
Now there is also another cutout too by where you can see the red crew sign.
Ah,
If
yeah.
you guys can see it right there. It's very small. It's not as big as that one, but there is another cutout.
Just to the right of where the home run was just hit and where we were featuring the cutout just a moment ago on the camera.
Trying to get Kessinger to chase. It doesn't. 1-2. Well, I mean, I do suppose with the fence of 28 feet high, you can't really go yard in this ballpark. Well, too often.
Yeah, the fence is 28 feet high, and then in right field, new city ordinance made some extra netting just in right to make it 41 feet high to protect some houses over there and some extra cars.
That one goes foul again into the bullpens.
But we did see a ball land over that 41-foot netting in batting practice earlier today. And it's only the first batting practice that these guys have taken, so it's one of many that will happen this summer.
Oh, you'll be surprised. Come July, they'll start hitting it way over the fence.
Solid hit into the gap, and Kessinger trying to beat the throw, doesn't. And he will go down with a 4-3 ground out.
Well, and that's actually a correction. It does not need to go over the 41-foot netting. If it hits the netting, it is a home run. The netting is just there actually to protect the houses and cars. But if it does hit the netting, it is a home run.
So are they going to make the netting higher to prevent baseballs from trying to hit the netting?
Yeah, they could. I think that was the goal of the 41-foot netting. I don't know how much higher you could go.
People still clear it, though. It's not doing its job.
I guess so.
Shane Kelly goes around for strike one. Takes one. Fouls it back, and that's the 0-2. So with only one out, Schooners finally able to grab a few runs and lead the Gulls 2-0. Top of the fifth. Kelly holds, finds ball one. One away, nobody on. The 1-2 count to Kelly. Wait the next pitch from Marks. Outside, 2-2. The wind's starting to pick up a little bit more since beginning of the game. As Kelly hits that one into right. Underneath it, it's Walker, and he'll be able to make the catch as Kelly gets retired. That's two away for the Schooners as it brings up Alex Stiegler to the plate.
Shane Kelly fished at one low and away and was still able to get underneath it and put some power under it, but Zaid Walker, settling underneath it. Now, that right field is a little bit deceiving. Though the fence is right there and you might think he put some nice power under it, it is pretty shallow. It's only, what, 285 to the corner?
Yeah, give or take. Although you got to think that that corner's a little bit deeper. Lined it almost into the dugouts. Looks like he's able to make the catch. So lining down the first baseline. That's three away for the Schooners as they will leave no one on. And 2 hits and 2 runs to go to the bottom of the fifth on the NECBL broadcast network. Zaid, Walker, Ryan, Tours, and Hayden Jones up for the Newport Gulls. It is the bottom of the 5th inning. Schooners lead 2-0. And it is still Trey McLaughlin for the Mystic Schooners on the mound. Zaid Walker up to the plate. Last time he was there in the 2nd inning, struck out. Takes that one across the plate and strike one. Tours Finding the outside, 1-1 the count.
Tours in the Gulls lineup, 1 of 2 so far to actually get a hit. First man for the Gulls to get a hit tonight, doubling in that left center gap.
Takes the strike though with a 1-2 count.
From Villanova, mainly a hitter for Villanova, but also made some appearances on the mound actually. So a two-way player. I don't know if his coach from Villanova will let him pitch this summer though.
Takes the strike from McLaughlin. And first man retired for the Newport Gulls. Well, position player pitching or consistent pitcher? That's the biggest question.
What's that?
Position player pitching or actually seeing action on the mound. That will determine if you're going to pitch this summer, essentially.
He was a pretty consistent pitcher, but he mainly saw first base and designated hitter action.
I see that. Strike 1 for Jones. Second time facing off against McLaughlin. Struck out last time he was up at the plate. That's a 195 this past season. McLaughlin almost getting a glove on it, but it goes to Byers and Stiegler going down 4-3. 2 up, 2 down for the Newport Gulls as the catcher, Peter Cerudo, comes up to the plate. Cerudo with the pitch, checks his swing, but it's down the middle anyway, and that's the 0-1 count. With the next pitch from McLaughlin. Off the ground, off his chest protector, into the air, and just over past the batter's box, able to recover. No play made with the 1-1 count.
Cerudo, the only catcher I believe with the Gulls right now, was a freshman at Rutgers this past spring. That 1-1 pitch catches the zone, 1 and 2. It's actually the highest drafted goal on the roster, was taken in the 22nd round of the 2018 MLB draft by the Cincinnati Reds.
Ooh, a swing and a miss, and that is 3 up, 3 down for the Gulls. As we go into the top of the 6th, Mystic Schooners still lead 2-0 on the NECBL Broadcast Network.
The NECBL.
The designated hitter Josh McGuire, the second baseman Isaiah Byers, and the shortstop Will Lucas due up for the Mystic Schooners. As I do believe Jordan Marks still on the mound. Yes, indeed, it is Marks in a second inning of work for the Newport Gulls. Marks came in transition after the 4th inning, and he plays only pitched 1 complete inning so far, all of the 5th so far, giving up 2 hits and 2 runs.
Marks played for the Lima Locos last year in the Great Lakes Summer League. Last summer, Struck out 34 batters while walking just 9 in 31 innings of work. Was a member of the league's all-star team.
McGuire, last time he was at the plate, reached on an error, and he'll take strike 1. Also struck out, finding the first ball. 1-1 count to McGuire as he bats .211 off of this 2019 season. Pops it foul behind the screen and setting us into the train yard over by left.
Yes,
Oh,
there
well,
it is.
I hope that doesn't derail any trains. Nonetheless, that's the 1-2 count. Swing and a miss, and McGuire will be retired. The first out for the Mystic Schooners, Isaiah Byers up to the plate. He grounded out and struck out both times in the fourth and in the second. Byers batting a .273.
First strikeout of the day for Marks on the mound. Caught McGuire on his heels.
I can't tell if that hit solid wood or metal on the wood.
I think both.
I think it was a
I'd go
combination.
with both, yeah.
Okay. Because that was almost going to hit us if we didn't have chain link in front of us. Thank goodness for screens. Takes the 0-2. And also goes down swinging, which will bring up Will Lucas to the plate. Reached on a walk and on a single.
So two in a row for Marks. He's starting to settle into this game after giving up the 2-run home run earlier. Starting to look a little bit more like McLaughlin and Hoven, pitchers from earlier in this matchup between these two programs.
Down the middle, and Lucas will hesitate, not go, and he takes strike one. Facing nobody on and 2 outs. Just inside, and Lucas will step out to take a few swings. Back in the box with his open stance. The line of foul, and the 1-2.
And he's starting to work a little bit quicker, too, on the mound. Starting to feel his groove a little bit, but you don't see him taking his time as much. Wants to keep that cadence, that rhythm going.
Scaruto and Marks being able to do a little bit better work together. More time they have facing each other, the better the gel will become.
And I think that's a good point you bring up. Once the pitcher feels a little bit of a rhythm, him and the catcher can start getting into a rhythm a little bit together too. And that makes the pitcher that much more comfortable on the mound. Might help him have a little bit more success on the mound. As this 1-2 pitch misses low and away. Count now even at 2. And I think that's why you see a lot of pitchers, even in the pros, have personal catchers, because that's who they're comfortable with.
It's all about the chemistry between the pitcher and the catcher. As Scaruto will block the ball up. Lucky for him, no one was on base to advance.
I think when you're thinking about the pitchers, especially casual fans or just anyone in general, you might not think the catcher and pitcher relation, especially personal catchers, that chemistry matters that much. It's just about throwing a ball to a spot. But that chemistry could really mean a lot to that pitcher and to that catcher and the rhythm of the game.
I knew a pitcher-catcher combo in high school, and a pitcher would designate a catcher at the beginning of the season and say, I will not pitch to anyone but this catcher, just so that they had that communication and that rhythm to go off of.
Yeah, and I think you saw it earlier in the game. Marks 2-3 pitches in already had to communicate with Ceruto what his signs were, what's going on, how are we going to go about this while he's on the mound. And though he just walked a batter in Lucas, he already has 2 strikeouts this inning, and he looks a lot more comfortable on the mound here in the 6th than he did in the 5th.
Like you just said, Will Lucas out on first after a walk from Marks. Ball 1 to Caruso. Over the hump and into the Bermuda Triangle. It will be 2 runners on for the Mystic Schooners, also 2 retired. So Lucas in scoring position for the Schooners. Caruso out on first.
And so this will be the test for Marks. As he's getting more comfortable on the mound, he's given up a walk, he's given up a single now back-to-back, and now the lineup flips over and he's facing Barmakin and Beam, who doubled and homered off of him. How does he respond, and how does he face these guys at the top of the lineup?
Throwing him down the middle, and that's strike 1 to Barmakin. Barmakian reached twice, once on a walk, struck on once. get some contact. That will move up both base runners. But is able to retire after the ground out. So with 3 gone and 2 left on base, that will be 1 hit for the Schooners. Schooners still lead 2-0 in the top of the 6th. We go to the bottom right after this on the NECBL Broadcast Network. Trey McLaughlin still on the mound for the Mystic Schooners, as it will be Cavalieri due up next to lead things off for the Newport Gulls. The designated hitter for this afternoon bats a .203 this past 2019 collegiate season, looking for his second at-bat this afternoon in opening day. Grounded out for 3 for the second out of the 3rd inning. Looking to get the ball rolling for the Gulls in the bottom of the 6th.
Yeah, and where Cavalieri's really dangerous is on the base pass, and they're batting him at the bottom of the lineup because they want to flip it over and work it as almost 2 leadoff hitters in a row.
And you've been seeing that more and more in the past few years, as the 9-hole has been the second leadoff hitter. And it's, proven theory. So far, so good. Hasn't seen too much damage yet.
So these first 2 pitches from McLaughlin miss. Low and inside count now 2-0 to Cavalieri.
In the dirt, and Caruso can't find it. Goes to have a little bit of chat with McLaughlin.
Cavalieri this spring for the University of Rhode Island had 14 stolen bases, only caught twice this spring. Over his college career, he's 32 for 37. Now, if you're familiar with this name, if you're watching the broadcast because you are a Newport Gulls fan, it's because he was in the NECBL last summer. He was with the North Adams Steeplecats, and he was actually leading the Steeplecats in runs scored last summer and was second in stolen bases with 15. So once you get him on the base pass, he's almost a sure bet to go.
Pitch down the middle, and that's the 3-1 count to Cavalieri.
I mentioned how he was caught twice this spring. He had 15 stolen bases last summer. He was not caught once stealing in the NECBL.
Knocks it foul, and he will draw a full count.
And you're right. You see this 2 leadoff hitter almost used quite often, and I think it really started with Joe Torre. He kind of did it with the Dodgers. Juan Pierre he flirted with at the bottom of the lineup, used as a designated hitter. You saw it, Andre Ethier. He really started using it a lot. Now you see it quite often, especially with the invention of the DH in the American League. NL teams starting to use it a little bit more. Joe Madden kind of bats his pitcher 8th sometimes, so you kind of see him being creative with his lineup, but you're starting to see it in the American League, not so much in the National League outside of the Chicago Cubs.
Well, as a Cubs fan myself, I will say that the Cubs pitchers got some decent batters on their side. In any case, Cavalieri takes a walk. First walk for McLaughlin, I do believe. Yes. Through 5 innings, first walk for McLaughlin. Interesting stat is on the flip side, Hoven having 4 and Marks having 1 so far. That brings us to the top of the order with Holwitzer. No, that's not right.
Holzwasser.
Yes, thank you. I'm still getting used to these new names.
We all are. Now it's interesting because you mentioned Caruso behind the plate able to run. If they send Cavalieri, how well is he?
Well, we're seeing that right now as he will advance off the wild pitch.
Not exactly what we were looking out for, but Cavalieri advances nonetheless.
He'll take what he can get. And that will bring general manager and pitching coach to the mound, Dennis Long, for the Mystic Schooners to talk over with McLaughlin. It's the second visit to the mound for the Schooners. Also second for the Newport Gulls on their side as well.
There is someone warming up in the pen for both squads.
Unfortunately, the Schooners jerseys are 2 days late as of now, so they are using their BP warm-up gear. Thankfully, they do have the numbers on the back. So
Looks to be Peter Myers for the Schooners and Michael Sansoni for the Newport Gulls.
Myers also a recent addition to the Schooners as of early last week. Although McLaughlin throws strike one. Gets ready on the plate. Pretty far back from the plate, actually. Takes a swing. Unable to make contact. That's the 0-2 count. Correction, that's the 2-2 count. McLaughlin. As that one is fouled out down the right field line. Gulls face one on. No outs. And Cavalieri in scoring position. On deck, Jacob Gustin in the hole. Hudson Haskin. Foul back again in the reset of 2-2.
Nice work from Halswasser, just battling right now, and that's all you can ask, especially when McLaughlin has worked in this game, kind of mowed through the lineup, but as the game's gone on, you want to tire the starting pitcher a little bit, make him work for these extra pitches, extra at-bats, as he has to work through the lineup over and over again. Make it a little bit harder on his end.
Fouled back into the bullpen. Beautiful catch by the pitchers out there. Again, the reset of the 2-2 count, making McLaughlin work. Looking for the pitch. Finds it. Beam looking underneath it at center field, deep, and that will be the first out for the Gulls.
Not a bad piece of contact or bad at bat by any means from Halswasser, making McLaughlin work and then getting underneath this one, lining it hard into center field. Just unfortunately right at Beam.
Jacob Gustin to the plate for the Gulls. Grounded out. Nah, he was caught out at second and flew out.
Now we will see the second meeting at the mound this inning, which means there will be a pitching change.
If our information is correct, it will be Peter Myers to come in.
With the pitching change, we will send it to a quick break. On the end of the break, we will come back with the new pitcher and the rest of this bottom half of the sixth inning. You're listening to Schooners and Gulls here on the NECBL Broadcast Network.
It will be Peter Myers to come in for the Mystic Schooners, exiting out Trey McLaughlin with 5 1/3 innings pitched, 2 hits, no runs, 1 walk, 8 strikeouts for McLaughlin. Peter Myers enters the game coming off his 2019 season with 25 games played, 1 win, 2 loss, no saves, 35.2 innings pitched, and an ERA of 6.31. He has 24 strikeouts and has faced 162 batters with 3 wild pitches, 4 hit batters, 13 walks, letting up 3 home runs, 25 runs, and 44 hits, and all of those runs were earned. First pitch swung on for Gustin, and he fouls that one over the left field fence. Gustin coming off of a season batting a .287 and will again follow it back with the 0-2 count.
Yeah, and the Gulls only able to get 2 hits so far today, a double in the left center gap, and then Gustin here with a single in his second at-bat. One of the only productive goals at the plate so far, but with a pitching change that might help them out a little bit.
Well, it's working out in Myers' favor as he is throwing the 1-2. Myers from the University of Hartford, native of Canton, Connecticut. The sophomore pitcher standing at 6'1" on the mound this afternoon. Righty, through and through. As Gustin fouls it back again and reset the 1-2.
Gustin, further evidence of just these Gulls hitters wanting to attack early, already fouling off 2 pitches early on from Myers on the mound.
Finding another ball. Evening out at 2-2. Makes contact, that's skyward, and that's behind as well. Reset the 2-2.
And just like Halswasser, the batter before him, battling off once again, and that's a good way to start with a new pitcher on the mound as well, already making him work for tough at-bats when he's beginning his trips on the mound.
Gustin setting his feet close to the plate, fouls it back again. Dare I say, a reset of 2-2. Again, the score, 2-0, Mystic Schooners on top of the Newport Gulls. Myers coming in this inning for Trey McLaughlin. So we are in the bottom of the 6th inning. Swing and a miss will finally retire Gustin as he goes down. Second out of the inning, there is still 1 runner on, and that is Cavalieri out at second. Up next, Hudson Haskin, wearing jersey number 21, the center fielder this afternoon. Flew out and struck out last 2 times he was at the plate. If we're looking longevity into the top of the 7th, it is Beam, Kessinger, and Kelly due up for the Schooners. It's Haskin to face off against Myers for the first time. Inside, checks his swing, does not go around, and that'll be ball 1. Almost defensive on that last swing, just not trying to get hit.
Yeah, coming up, playing a little bit of chin music towards Haskin. At that point, it really is just some self-defense.
Yeah. At the letters, and that's the 1-1 count. Myers with the pitch. Dropped in a little bit too late, and that's the 2-1 count. Looking for the pitch. Haskin. Finds it down the line. It's Barmaking to Siegler. Tried for the double play, unable to do so, although 1 out is all they needed. It's Haskin going down 5-3 to end out the inning. And we go to the top of the 7th. Beam, Kessinger, and Kelly due up next. It is the NECBL Broadcast Network. Beam, Kessinger, and Kelly due up next. But you got the call.
Thank you, Laura. Top of the 7th. Here at Cardines Field in Newport, Rhode Island. Stephen Huff alongside the voice of the Mystic Schooners, Laura Hoover, and the field reporter for the Newport Gulls, Nick Bello. Nick, we'll turn to you in the bottom half of the 7th for a look around the league. Jordan Marks, we teased that there was someone in warming up in the Newport bullpen, but Jordan Marks is still on the mound for the Gulls as we get set for the lineup here in the 7th. Beam followed by Kessinger and Kelly for the Schooners. 2, 3, 4 hitters. Beam was one of the players you highlighted at the top of the broadcast as someone to look out for. 2 for 2 day for him, has reached on all 3 of his plate appearances. Reached in the 1st on a walk. Later in the 3rd singled. And in the 5th hit a 2-run home run. He is the reason the score is now 2-0. He shows bunt on the first pitch from Marks, but it's a fastball that misses up. Ball 1. This 1-0 pitch misses inside. Count now 2-0. Marks looking on. On the 2-0. Fastball over the heart of the plate. Count now 2-1. So Trey McLaughlin's day is officially done, as this 2-1 pitch is going to be lined out of play along the first base line and into downtown Newport. Count now even at 2. Trey McLaughlin's day, though, for the Schooners is officially done now that runner was stranded for the Gulls. He went 5 1/3 innings pitched, gave up 2 hits, no runs, obviously, no earned runs. Walking 1 while striking out 8 Gulls batters.
Not too bad of a day for a pitcher.
Yeah, not too shabby, especially on opening day when nerves might be a little bit higher. As this 2-2 pitch misses low from Marks. Count now full. This 3-2 off speed. Pitch catches. Beam swinging for strike 3. 3rd strikeout of the day for Marks on the mound. First out here in the top half of the 7th inning.
Although that will be Beam's first time he strikes out this afternoon.
First time he gets out in general.
Fair enough. He was stranded twice, though, throughout the game. And
this first pitch to Kessinger misses up. 1-0.
Kessinger with a different story, though. Was able to get stranded once by, happened to get on by a walk.
0 for 1 day for him, but he grounds this one over to the second base side. Halswasser with it. Throws the first in time for a quick out number 2. So 2 straight ground outs to Halswasser for Kessinger. And there's quickly 2 outs here in the top of the 7th. And with 2 away, that'll bring up the left fielder from Bryant, Shane Kelly.
Kelly generally an opposite field hitter.
He's going to fly this one into the opposite side of the field. 3 players coming over underneath it, but Halswasser is the one to corral it for out number 3. So 3 up, 3 down for the Schooners in the 7th. Heading into the bottom of the 7th, it's 2-0 Schooners lead here on the NECBL Broadcast Network. 4, 5, 6 hitters do it for the Gulls here in the bottom of the 7th. Stephen Huff alongside Laura Hoover and Nick Bello. Nick, we will send it to you quickly as Tours steps in at the plate for a look around the league in the NECBL. I know we had a couple of cancellations as this first pitch to Tours is lined foul behind the plate. 0-1, but how are the other games that are actually playing turning out?
Yes, Steven. So I'm going to start off first with the 2 postponements. We had Winnipesaukee at Vermont, that one postponed, and Upper Valley at Keene, which is also postponed. Tonight we have Ocean State at Danbury. That one is 4-3 Ocean State in the bottom of the 7th. And then we have Valley at Vineyard, 3-0 Valley in the top of the 8th. Sanford at North Adams, 13-0 North Adams in the bottom of the 6th. So we have a blowout and 2 very close games.
So 1 blowout, couple of close games, and then another close game here at Cardines Field in Newport, Rhode Island. Excuse me, I said Tours before I sent it to you. It's actually Vosick at the plate. He saw 1 ball come by him. And now he swings at this one and misses at a fastball up. Count now 1-2 to Vosick from Kansas at the plate. Righty on lefty matchup. Vosick crouching down into his stance. 1-2 slider. misses. Count now 2-2.
And you know, Steven, tonight's game was a little bit sketchy at the beginning with the fog rolling in.
It's turned out all right.
Yeah, it's
a little
turned out
chilly.
fine.
A little
Yeah,
chilly right now,
little
but
bit cold.
that was to be expected at this point as this 2-2 pitch misses low, skimming the plate. Count now full. But it's turned out all right. You're right.
Yeah. We were expecting some rain too around 10. Still probably expecting that. I'm not sure. I haven't checked the weather in a while.
Now this full count pitch is going to be lined over third base side into the screens. Count remains full. Not only are you the field reporter, you're going to double as our weatherman really quick. What are we looking at?
So 40% chance of rain around 11 tonight.
At 11?
No rain around 10. It's kind of moved back and the percentages have decreased.
So we're okay.
Yeah, we're fine.
Yeah, 40% ain't that bad.
So this 3-2 pitch lined into the same spot, into the screens. Count remains full. Third base coach for the Schooners getting a workout over there.
At this rate, it's just going to be the pitcher workout, not much else.
Myers looking on. Working from the middle of the rubber. Delivers a fastball that misses up for ball 4. So a leadoff walk from Myers puts Vosick aboard first. That'll bring up Zaid Walker. Walker on the day 0 for 2. Struck out swinging in the second in his first plate appearance as a goal. And then in the fourth, grounded out to Lucas at short to end the fourth inning. He's going to half swing at this slider. It's going to ground over to the first base side to second for 1. Back to first in time for a 3-6-1 double play.
Beautiful play there. Just nice hesitation. Deliver the ball, pass it right back. Unfortunately, Walker wasn't able to have the motion behind him to power through the first base.
A nice heads-up play from Myers getting off the mound and covering first base. Not all pitchers are able to have the whereabouts to get over there in time and finish off that play. This first pitch to Tours. Misses outside, 1-0. Tours on the day, 1 for 2, doubled in his first plate appearance in the second and struck out swinging in the fifth. This 1-0 pitch. Fastball over the heart of the plate. 1-1.
You know, we were talking about rule changes earlier in the broadcast and then more or less throughout. This isn't necessarily a rule change for this season, but the max pitch count in game is 120 this year. This is going off the MLB rules and regulations.
This slider misses outside, count now 2-1.
And from there, you know, it just, each pitcher has to have, based on how many pitches, X amount of days rest. So as you get up there, more days.
This 2-1 pitch flown behind the plate and out of play into the intersection behind Cardines Field, 2-2. Do you know how many days rest they need exactly? If not, that's okay.
0 days if you're pitching between 1 and 30. So if you're potentially reliever or a closer, I think you should be good every single day. Although you can't pitch 6 days in a row. 1 day's rest is anywhere between 31 and 45 pitches.
This 2-2 pitch is swung on and missed for strike 3. We will have more on the rule changes and pitch counts that you need to keep your eye on. And it is 2-0 heading into the 8th inning. You're listening to Schooners and Gulls Baseball here on the NECBL Broadcast Network. 5, 6, 7 hitters due up for the Schooners here in the top of the 8th. Looks to be a new pitcher for the Gulls on the mound. Number 11, Michael Sansoni of Fairfield. He had an ERA of 4.0 in 15 appearances, 14 starts this past spring for Fairfield. Through 83 and 1/3 innings pitched. He gave up 80 hits, 39 runs, 37 of them earned. Had 63 strikeouts in those 83 and 1/3 innings pitched. With those 63 strikeouts, only gave up 15 walks. So the Schooners started the day with McLaughlin on the mound from Fairfield, and Caruso, the catcher for Fairfield. And the Gulls are now bringing out a Fairfield pitcher of their own in Michael Sansoni.
Marks leaves the game with 3 innings pitched, 3 hits, 2 runs, both earned, 1 walk, and 3 strikeouts.
Really, the only damage done from him was that 2-run home run after that double he gave up when he first came in the 5th. After that, he kind of settled in and looked all right as Stiegler settles in, lays down a bunt along the third base side. Sansoni off the mound quickly, but the throw to first is errant. Covering over there is Halswasser, and the throw to second is not in time. So Stiegler is aboard second. I think we need to look at the replay to see even if the throw was going to be in time. That was a bad throw. We'll give him an E1. And that will put Stiegler aboard second, excuse me. This first pitch fastball over the heart of the plate to McGuire. 0-1. One pitch swung on and missed from McGuire. Count now 0-2.
Well, to kind of conclude this pitch count recap, 1 day rest again between 31-45, 2 days rest between 46 and 60 pitches, 3 days 60 to 80 pitches.
This 0-2 pitches swung on and missed at the top half of the zone for strike 3. First strikeout of the day for Sansoni on the mound. 12th strikeout of the day for the Gulls pitchers.
In the last 4 days, 80 to 105 pitches, and then anything above that, you have to have 5 days rest.
5 days rest. So a normal starting pitcher at that point. This one's going to be dribbled over to Halswasser at second, throws the first in time for out number 2, but that does advance Stiegler over to third. So 2 away with a runner 90 feet from scoring with Will Lucas coming up to hit for the Schooners. He's 1 for 1 today, singled in his first plate appearance in the 2nd, and then worked 2 walks in his other 2 plate appearances, 1 coming in the 4th and 1 coming in the 6th. Lefty on righty matchup. Sansoni looking on, delivers first pitch that misses up and away. 1-0. Sansoni doesn't come out of the bullpen often for Fairfield, only 1 appearance out of the bullpen. Of his 14 games started, had 4 complete games. This one's going to be flown into shallow center field. Halswasser going underneath it, but getting called off by Haskin for out number 3. So no hits, no runs, no errors. 1 left aboard for the Schooners here in the top of the 8th. Heading into the bottom of the 8th, Schooners lead 2-0 here on the NECBL Broadcast Network. Bottom of the 8th here on the NECBL Broadcast Network. Stephen Huff alongside Laura Hoover and Nick Bello. The Schooners lead the Gulls 2-0 as there is another pitching change for the Schooners. It looks to be Reese Maniscalco for the Schooners.
He comes in after this season with 3 wins, 1 loss, and 4 saves with 27 innings pitched and an ERA of 2.67. He has given up 22 hits, 14 runs, 8 of them earned, 2 home runs. He's walked 15 batters, struck out 46. Has only had 3 wild pitches and has hit 4 batters. The junior comes from Warford College, the Terriers, and a native from Fairfield, Connecticut. He stands 6 foot on the mound, and the righty hurler missed last season, 2018 season, due to injury, so he has bounced back significantly, and he actually arrived yesterday evening to the field.
So Maniscalco just getting here for this NECBL season, ready to go. And you said he's also just recovered from an injury as well.
Yeah, this season is his first season back from, I believe, a knee injury. Don't quote me on that. But I do believe it was early season injury that ended out the remainder of the 2018 seasons.
Well, the first hitters he will face are Austin James, Peter Cerruto, and Greg Cavalieri for the Gulls lineup.
And for Peter Myers, as he exits the game, 1 2/3 innings pitched, no hits, no runs, 1 walk, and 2 strikeouts.
So successful relief appearance for Peter Myers on the Mystic side of things. Both squads are on their third pitcher here tonight. Neither teams have made any lineup changes when it comes to the hitting side. Now the Mystic Schooners don't really have much flexibility to do so at this point.
Well, they don't really have too many pitchers left in the bullpen per se that will be eligible to pitch tonight. However, the entire roster is pretty much bullpen pitchers, so.
This first pitch to James, fastball on the outside edge, 0-1. You were telling me before the broadcast, and maybe we mentioned it at the top of the broadcast, the bench when it comes to position players and hitters is awful thin for Mystic.
Yeah, we definitely have more pitchers than position players. If I did the math correctly, which I may have, I am a broadcasting person after all. Math isn't my strong suit. I believe we have equal amount of pitchers as we do position players, but there are 33 guys on the roster currently, so I think we just went over by picking up 2 Arizona State University kids. Actually, today we called them in, so I believe we are now over on pitchers that were position players.
Count now 2-1 to Austin James. He held back his swing there. And of course, you guys are still waiting for players to arrive, as most teams, all teams are in the NECBL.
Yeah, T.T. Bowens and James Taylor both coming off of a long season.
This one's going to be flown into center, but underneath it is beam for out number 1. Behind us, you may have just heard the fire trucks from Newport. Get used to that. The fire station is just behind the stadium here in Newport, just across the street. If you exit the stadium, you are going to be looking at the fire station here in Newport, Rhode Island.
I consider that ideal. We are very well protected from virtually any scenario.
That is very true. As this first pitch, breaking ball misses low and away to Cerruto. So there will be quite a bit of fire trucks in and out of the broadcast.
Well, hopefully not in the broadcast. That would be quite concerning.
At least not the visual broadcast, the audio.
Okay.
We can't avoid that, as this pitch is going to be lined right back to us. But the chain link fence saves us once again. Count now even at 1.
That and the great fans in front of us.
Nick, you flinched there.
I did. I'm not sure why, because the past 2 that were much louder and much faster than that one, I did not flinch. It must be because I'm paying attention more now.
So this 1-1's going to be flown straight up, elevator shaft home run, but here it's an out right to Caruso for out number 2. And with 2 away, that'll bring up Greg Cavalieri. Cavalieri 0 for 1 today, but did reach on his second plate appearance with a walk in the 6th, reached second on a wild pitch. As we were gloating about his stealing abilities, it did not work out how we thought it might. But nonetheless, he did reach second where he was later stranded. He is a switch hitter. He was batting right earlier in the game. Now he is batting left against the righty Maniscalco on the mound. As he swings and misses at this fastball up, 0-1.
Maniscalco doing a surprisingly decent job for arriving so quick. He's only had 1 practice before entering the field in this play of game. He actually arrived right before practice started last night.
This 0-1 pitch, half swung, sent Cavalieri down to his knees. Now he's down in the count, 0-2. Cavalieri goes to school at the URI, University of Rhode Island. Just about 25-30 minutes from here. He's going to line this one back into the
Your
screen.
home for the summer too, Steven.
It is where I'm staying for the summer. You flinch at that one?
I did not, unfortunately.
We're making progress.
We are.
Okay, but that's also 10 feet to our left.
The last one wasn't that close either. Not to put you on blast. This 0-2 pitch to Cavalieri. He checks his swing. They're going to say he held back. Count now 1-2.
To quote Bob Ross, only have mistakes tonight, Steven.
Maniscalco on the mound, righty on lefty matchup. Cavalieri with his open stance. Takes a look at this one for strike 3. So 3 up, 3 down for the Gulls in the bottom half of the 8th. Heading into the 9th. Gulls trail 2-0 here on the NECBL Broadcast Network. Top of the 9th here at Cardines Field in Newport, Rhode Island. Stephen Huff alongside Laura Hoover and Nick Bello, the field reporter for the Newport Gulls.
Where it began.
Gulls trail 2-0 to the Mystic Schooners. Sansoni still on the mound for the Gulls. That'll be Caruso, the 9-hitter for the Schooners. Then the lineup will flip over to Barmaken and David Beam. Caruso on the day, 1 for 3. Struck out swinging in his first 2 plate appearances, coming in the 2nd and 4th inning, and then singled in the 6th, his last time at bat. Sansoni so far, only 1 innings pitched out of the bullpen. This will be his 2nd inning of work. Had that throwing error to start his day off the mound, but after that struck out McGuire at the plate and then earned a ground out and a fly out to get out of the 8th inning. And here, this one's going to be lined into left past James at short. And so Caruso's aboard with an early single.
Beautiful placement on the ball there, right over the head of James and into short left.
So that single from Caruso will bring up the top of the lineup in Barmaken. He's having a pretty good day at the plate. 1 for 3 day. Struck out looking to start, but worked a walk in the 3rd where he was later stranded at 3rd, but he showed off later as he bunts this one along the 3rd base line and foul. Showed off in the 5th with a double. And then came around to score off the 2-run home run from David Beam. Last time at bat for Barmaken, though, he did ground out to James at short. That was with Jordan Marks on the mound. He was 1 for 2 against Marks. This is his first time facing Sansoni. Against lefties with Hoven on the mound, he's 0 for 1. He struck out looking, as I mentioned, but also was able to work that walk. So he did reach base against the lefty. This pitch to Barmaken is going to be tipped into Ceruto's glove. Count now 0-2.
Barmaken starting to loosen his rein on the ball. Generally likes to swing at some of those lower fastballs, but
This 0-2 is going to be flown into right. Zaid Walker coming in and underneath it. Or out number 1. So 1 away here in the top of the 9th. Schooners lead the Gulls 2-0 here on the NECBL Broadcast Network. Stephen Huff joined by the voice of the Mystic Schooners, Laura Hoover, and the field reporter for the Newport Gulls, Nick Bello. David Beam settling in at the dish for the Schooners. He is the reason the Schooners have a 2-1 run lead. Hitting that 2-run shot in the 5th inning as he watches this one across the heart of the plate. 0-1.
It's hard to believe that being the person that has made this game what it is, only batting this past season at 273.
We're going to get a time at home plate. Sansoni lobbing one over the plate. Hitting 273 isn't terrible. It's a pretty respectable average. 374 on base. That's a pretty respectable slash line. The start of a slash line. This one's going to be flown out of play towards the concession stands and that warehouse we mentioned earlier. What's surprising is he only has 383 slugging, so it's almost the same as his on-base percentage, but he blasted one out of play off the tree that we were talking about cutting into the fence earlier today.
Man's got precision, that's for sure.
Lefty on righty matchup. Pitch is going to be flown out of play once again.
Looks to be the same place. Almost.
And it is.
Maybe a little further, maybe a little closer.
More towards the concession stands.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, out of play, count remains 1-2. Off the lefties today. Beam is 1 for 1, singling in the 3rd, but also worked a walk in the 1st. As he watches this one miss outside. Now the count is 1-2, excuse me. Sansoni looking over to first, offers to the home plate. Pitch misses up. Count now even at 2.
He's getting pretty close to the shoulders on that. Being ducking away from it.
No one was hit by a pitch tonight.
Don't.
Yet.
Don't.
Hopefully no one will be. Shouldn't have mentioned anything. Especially with the broadcaster's curse that we put on play earlier today.
You already did it once.
I know.
You don't want to do it twice.
Knock on wood.
There
Of course,
you go.
good thing this is one of the oldest stadiums in America, if not the oldest. The whole bleachers are made out of wood. This 2-2 off speed is going to be chopped in front of home plate, but they're going to rule it foul. Count remains even at 2. All of the bleachers, the grandstands, the backstop, dating back from 1908, all made out of wood.
Surprised the wood lasted this long.
It's been resurfaced a little bit, repurposed, painted over mainly.
Yeah.
But the original backstop was from 1908. This 2-2 is going to be grounded over to James at short. He throws to second for 1, throw to first in time for out number 3. So a 6-4-3 double play will end the inning. Heading into the bottom of the 9th, the Gulls trail 2-0. Last chance for the Gulls here in the bottom of the 9th. Top of the lineup due up for the Gulls. Stephen Huff alongside Laura Hoover, the voice of the Mystic Schooners, and Nick Bello, the field reporter for the Newport Gulls here on the NECBL Broadcast Network. It's looking like Reese Maniscalco still on the mound for the Schooners. For the Gulls, it will be leadoff man Scott Halswasser of Northeastern, Jacob Gustin of Bryant, and Hudson Haskin of Tulane. Looking to get some run support and get the Gulls back in this game and maybe take this one. Down 2-0 here in the bottom of the 9th.
Maniscalco so far only pitching 1 complete inning. Only struck out once. The rest were 1 fly out, 1 pop out. Not too bad to try and close out in the bottom of the 9th.
Halswasser settling in at the dish. 0 for 3 day for him. Struck out swinging in the first. Then in the third, flew out to center, and in the sixth, lined out to center. Righty on righty matchup. First pitch to Halswasser. Pitch misses outside. 1-0.
Now you gotta admit that once the 7th inning started, people started accidentally leaving. They're missing a great game here right now.
Especially a close one like this, as this 1-0 pitch misses low and inside. Count now 2-0. They did start leaving when it coincided with the weather getting chilly.
Yes, very much so. Let's say about half of what we had at the start of the game, give or take.
Count now 2-0. 2-0 fastball misses low. Count now 3-0. And now we're going to see Caruso jog on out to the mound. Chat things over with Maniscalco.
It's the fourth visit to the mound for the Schooners. Reminder that capped at 6 this year. That was a nationwide change.
Maniscalco looking on out of the stretch from the first base side of the rubber. Delivers a 3-0 fastball in there. Taking all the way was Halswasser. For strike one. Count now 3-1. On the 3-1. Halswasser swinging, hits this one into deep center. It's going to be off the fence in center. Carrying off of it. Beam rounding or filing it in to Byers, the cutoff man. Halswasser thought about going to third depending on how Beam played it, but staying at second off a stand-up double. And now the Gulls looking to mount a comeback, have a leadoff man in scoring position.
What'd I say? People left too early. It's an exciting game.
You're certainly right, and might be the time to strike for the Gulls. Jacob Gustin settles in at the dish, righty on lefty matchup. First pitch to Gustin, fastball in the zone for strike one. Gustin 1 for 3 day today. Flew out to center in the first, singled in the fourth. Struck out swinging in his last plate appearance in the sixth. The 0-1. Fastball skips the home plate. Nice block from Caruso, keeps it in front of him. Count now even at 1.
You got close there. Got real close.
Now there isn't that much room behind home plate, and with the wooden backstop, it bounces back quite quickly. So I don't know if Halswasser would have had a lot of time to get to third. Now with these angles, it might have bounced any which way, but this one's going to be grounded over to the second base side. Byers with it into first for out number 1, but that will move Halswasser over to third. So with one away, that will bring up Hudson Haskin with a runner 90 feet from scoring for the Gulls. That is the farthest the Gulls have had a runner on the base paths tonight. Haskin settles in, watches the first pitch over the heart of the plate. 0-1. Haskin 0 for 3 today, struck out looking to end the first, flew out to center in the fourth, and grounded out to third to end the sixth. He's going to watch this pitch. Off speed, missed low. Count now even at 1. Haskin, we mentioned, hit 372 this spring for Tulane. 459 on base with 647 slugging. This one's going to get away from Caruso, but we mentioned not a lot of room behind the plate, so it's hard to judge sometimes, and if you hesitate from third or any base for that matter, you probably lost your chance to go, and you saw Allswasser hesitate from third. Might have been able to score if he didn't. He certainly would have been able to score if he didn't hesitate, and you see him kicking himself there for not going.
Good on Ziegler to come cover the mound as Maniscalco came down to help on Caruso.
So count now 2-1 to Haskin. Mystic leads 2-0 here in the bottom of the ninth. One away, and Haskin's gonna jam this one into shallow left. That's gonna score the first goals run of the day. Allswasser walks in from third, and Haskin is aboard first with an RBI single. So Haskin records the first goals RBI of the season, and the tying run is aboard for the goals. The winning run is at the plate, and the goals cleanup man, Brett Vosick. Vosick hit .261 this spring for Kansas, slugging .425. They're going to throw over to first, but Haskin diving back in time. Vosick just completed his junior year at Kansas. Improved quite a bit from his sophomore season. This one, hard foul ball into the screen behind the plate, 0-1. At .425 slugging percentage, includes 4 more doubles, 3 more triples, and 5 more home runs from his sophomore season. Certainly focused on more power as he progressed through his collegiate career.
Maniscalco losing a little bit of targeting. Kind of starting to go all over the place here.
Now this 0-1 pitch is going to be fouled in to Caruso's glove. Count now 0-2 to Vosick at the plate. 0-2 pitch to Vosick, swung at and missed for strike 3. The throw down to second is not corralled by Lucas, so Haskin is in scoring position. So a little bit of a hit and run attempt there from the goals. They weren't able to pull it off, but nonetheless, Haskin is in scoring position. He is the tying run for the goals. And the goals down to their final out in Zaid Walker.
Walker unable to land himself on base as of yet this season.
His first pitch catches the outside edge. 0-1. So you see a little bit of rain coming down now.
Well, we're 1 out away from the end of this game, so I'm hoping they can hold on till then.
Our field reporter / weatherman Nick Bello let us down. Said 40% chance coming in at 11. There's a 100% chance at 9:14 local time as Zaid swung and missed at this pitch outside of the zone. 0-2.
I was just relaying information that was given to me.
Don't shoot the messenger.
I own zero responsibility for the rain right now.
The Gulls down to their final strike here on opening day, down 2-1 to Mystic. Runner tying run on second base in Hudson Haskin. This 0-2 pitch is going to be chopped right back up the middle. Lucas has it and throws to first in time for out number 3. So that'll do it here in Newport. Goals fall 2-1 to the Mystic Schooners. Don't go anywhere. We will have the post-game show coming up in a moment here on the NECBL Broadcast Network. Welcome back to the post-game show here on the NECBL Broadcast Network. Stephen Huff alongside the voice of the Mystic Schooners, Laura Hoover, and the field reporter for the Newport Gulls, Nick Bello. Goals fall in this one to the Mystic Schooners, 2-1. Taking a look at these stats, the winning pitcher for tonight is of the Mystic Schooners, Trey McLaughlin. The losing pitcher is Jordan Marks of the Newport Gulls, and earning his first save of the season is Reese Maniscalco. Taking a look at how things panned out, it's pretty even until the fifth inning. Both pitchers were Art Hoven for the Gulls was dealing, as was Trey McLaughlin for the Schooners. Both of them dealing with a bunch of strikeouts. McLaughlin earned 8 on the day, while Hoven earned 8 himself. Neither of them was willing or able to get an edge until the fifth inning, when there was a reliever coming in for the Gulls, Jordan Marks. Top of the fifth, gave up a leadoff double to Steve Barmakin, and then David Beam hit a 2-run home run right after that. That gave them the 2-0 lead that they held on to for the rest of the game. It wasn't until the bottom of the ninth that the Gulls really were able to garner any hits of the sort. They had 2 hits up until the ninth inning, and in the ninth, it was a leadoff double from Scott Halswasser. And after a sacrifice from Gustin to put Halswasser on third, Hudson Haskin had an RBI single that scored Halswasser. That was the Gulls' lone run of the day. Haskin ended up getting over to second off of a wild pitch, or a stolen base, on a hit and run attempt. But Zaid Walker was unable to tie the game up with the runner in scoring position. So the Gulls fell 6-1, but it really seemed like the Schooners were in charge the whole game.
Honestly, they were in charge from, I would say, probably the third inning is when they really started taking into effect. They had 2 walks in the first, only a single in the second. Well, they started getting people on base through their own power in the third, a walk, and then a single that eventually ran into 2 runners in scoring position. But it wasn't until the fifth, with David Beam, 2-run homer, Barmakian able to get on with double with a long ball, and then again Beam coming right in, hitting that tree in the open spot to almost finalize the game. And then it really was a pitcher's duel throughout the entire thing, and you didn't really see too many ground outs until maybe 6th, 7th innings, and then pitchers strike out before that.
The Schooners had 5 hits on the day, but ended up leaving 9 on base. On the flip side of things, the Gulls only had 4 hits on the day, 2 coming in the 9th inning, and they ended up leaving 4 runners on base. But you look at the strikeout totals. You mentioned it was a pitching duel. You had 12 on the Gulls side of things. For the Schooners, they also had 12. So as we mentioned in the broadcast, anything you can do, I can do better. Hoven had 8, and then for McLaughlin, he also had 8. So both starters were really dealing the whole time. Trey McLaughlin went 5 1/3. He is the winning pitcher. Gave up only 2 hits, no runs, none of them earned, obviously. Only walking 1 while striking out 8. What do you have to say for him?
Honestly, for the first opening day, it was solid. Solid outing. Couldn't be more happier with McLaughlin and the way he performed. It makes me happy to expect more out of the bullpen going forth, because Myers and Maniscalco really picked up the slack and trying to keep your pitchers healthy. Maniscalco unable to in the ninth. I think mentality got ahead of him a little bit too much in the opening day. The nerves and not having a good first pitches in the ninth inning, I think, really got to him, and then that set the tone for the rest of the ninth. But other than that, it was well-rounding pitches and well-rounding batters at the same time.
Yeah, and it was a fun one to watch, especially from the pitching aspect of it. But for Laura Hoover, the voice of the Mystic Schooners, thank you for joining us tonight. You're off the hook, and we will see you again 2 weeks from today here in Newport when the Mystic Schooners come back to Newport to take on the Newport Gulls once again. What I'm going to do is let you go, and I'm going to send this one over to our field reporter, Nick Bello, for another look around the league for the post-game report. Nick, take it away.
Thank you, Steven. So, as for here, we had a 2-0 loss for Newport Gulls to Mystic Schooners. Elsewhere around the league, we had a 13-0 win for North Adams over Sanford, and a 6-5 win over Danbury over Ocean State. And then we had 2 games postponed tonight. Joining me right now is John Perrick. John will be with us in a second. But as Steven said, a 2-1 loss tonight for the Gulls. Marks with the loss, McLaughlin with the win. 6 hits for the Schooners and 4 hits for the Gulls, and also 3 errors for the Gulls. John, thank you for joining us tonight. What did you see from this Gulls team? What were some of the positives you could have taken out of this game?
Well, first off, great to be with you this evening, Nick. And you know what? Although it was a tough 2-1 loss, 1-run losses, of course, those are always killer. But at the end of the day, it was a well-pitched pitcher's duel. And I think that's kind of the constant theme that we've heard throughout so far during the post-game wrap-up. You know what? Last year, the Newport Gulls, they were not where they thought they were going to be. They were dealing with a lot of issues, of course, in the bullpen, in the starting rotation. But tonight, although it was not pretty, the Newport Gulls found a way to deliver the Newport faithful kind of a well-pitched pitcher's duel, and at the end of the day, they just were not at their right end of the decision.
Absolutely, I have to agree with you on that one. It's just unfortunate that, you know, just one swing of the bat really changed this whole game as Jordan Marks gave up that 2-run home run in the 5th inning.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. That's the only time Mystics scored. And I agree with you. This was an absolute great pitching night for the Gulls, besides that one little blemish.
Yeah, and if you look back at a lot of their heartbreaking losses throughout the season last year, which led to, of course, missing out in the playoffs for a second consecutive year, it started with the pitching. And now I find it kind of surprising that it's the Newport Gulls who come out there, they deliver 9 innings, only 2 runs allowed, and fail to come through with the victory. But again, that's the summer collegiate baseball throughout America, right? You never know what you're going to get. It's a trick or treat, really. And at the end of the day, Newport fell 2-1 the final here at Cardines Field. But besides the game, it was a great night all throughout the Cardines Field, as we had the Newport Hospital show up for their annual opening night, which was a humongous success. Again, we raised over $150 from the 50-50 raffle, and ultimately, actually, the Newport Hospital came away with over $300 because the winner of the 50-50 gave the winning numbers and all of the proceeds back to the Newport Hospital. So there, although on the field it was not a great night, off the field it was an excellent night for the Newport Gulls.
Absolutely. You said it right there. $300 going back to Newport Hospital. That's amazing. And another good thing that happened tonight, the weather.
Oh, yes.
Weather held out up until the 9th inning when it started raining. But the fog, I was a little bit worried about that. I was not sure if you were worried about that, but the fog worried me a little bit. And right now we have to go down to Stephen Huff. Stephen, take it away.
All right, thank you, Nick. I'm joined by tonight's player of the game, Art Hoven. Art, you're in Newport. You just got here a couple days ago. How are you liking life here?
I'm adapting to it well. You know, everything. Life is good. I mean, the weather's nice. I can't complain.
Weather is nice. It's getting a little bit better. It'll get better later in this year, but you're already dueling on the mound. 4 innings pitched tonight. You had 8 strikeouts, only gave up 3 hits. What was working out there for you?
I was just trying to work through the zone and make quality pitches and get my defense in and off as fast as they.
What are you trying to work on this summer to improve even more?
Consistency and getting ahead of batters and not walking.
All right. Thank you so much, and congrats out there tonight. You did great. So back to you guys in the booth.
Thank you, Steven. As you see right there, you know, Art Hoven couldn't pick up the win tonight, but he's still confident, and that's what you like to see.
No, that's exactly what you like to see because, again, as I touched on before, what really hurt the Newport Gulls last year, it's the fact they didn't have the arms, and as a result, the confidence just wasn't there. And if you ask anybody in the front office, even with Nate Ryder, who's an excellent reliever for the Newport Gulls, he had to leave early, and then suddenly the bullpen was depleted, the starting rotation was depleted, and they fell short. So you know what? Confidence, that's something I'll take out of the Newport Gulls tonight.
Absolutely, and we didn't even see the whole pitching staff tonight. So if these guys are confident, the ones that we saw tonight, I can only imagine how confident the other guys are after seeing what happened tonight. So, you know, the 1-2-run home run, that's obviously a blemish that they wouldn't want to do. You know, if you're Kevin Winterroad, what would you say to your team at the end of this game?
Well, you know what? I think he's got to keep it simple. You know what? It was a good pitcher's duel today, as we've touched on throughout the show. However, at the end of the day, Newport needs to find a way to generate more offense early on, kind of put the heat. Tonight, I wish they really were able to put the heat on the Schooners early. Instead, they went down 1-2-3 in the first, and that kind of was the trend throughout the night. Not until the ninth inning, of course. Not enough consistency out of the offense.
And we saw a good amount of offense tonight with the Gulls. Just couldn't turn that offense into runs. Do you think their offense, progressively throughout the season, can get better and better?
Well, I think that's always almost the case in the NECBL, because you see the beginning of the season, a lot of the players are coming off the College World Series and all of that they may be a little fatigued, maybe a little tired. As the summer goes on, as they kind of start to settle in here to the beautiful Newport that we've got, I feel that they kind of get more comfortable with the area, and in doing so, hopefully their game improves. So I would say that yes, I think that they should be able to kind of revive that offensive attack. But then again, we're talking about one game in. There's not. Of course, we got to give credit to where credit is due. Mystic did come out and they were able to put together an excellent pitching performance that did shut down Newport. So I don't think it's time to hit the panic button yet.
Absolutely, John, and I agree with you. Thanks for coming up here with me, but we have to send it back down to Steven. So, Steven, take it away.
So the Gulls fell tonight 2-1 to the Mystic Schooners, but they will be back in action this Friday in Keene against the Keene Swamp Bats. For tonight, thank you to our executive producer and director, Tom Lima, our producer, Shannon Carlson, on-site engineer, Zach Letson, social media coordinator, John Semino, camera operators, John McLaughlin, Shayna Wintraub, Arthur Smith, our statistician, Charlie Heffernan, and our field reporter, Nick Bello, and of course, the voice of the Mystic Schooners, Laura Hoover. I'm Stephen Huff saying goodnight from the city by the sea.
Thank you.